Bundled Heart. A Small Town Second Chance Romance. By Ellen Lane.
Chapter 1. Eddie.
Krystal has always been beautiful to me. From the day I laid my eyes on her, she took my breath away. I knew I loved her from day one. I transferred to Piedmont High during my freshman year. She befriended me right away. It is the love I feel for her that has me making my plans. One way or another, Krystal will be mine. I closed my journal and put it back into my glove box. I have no idea why I keep it in my glove box. I live alone, so there is no one to snoop around my room for my journal or anything like that. I guess it is my way of stalling. I hate going to the doctor, but this pain in my stomach has not subsided at all. Still, my thoughts continue to drift to her, despite the pain, despite the nausea, and despite it all. I finally get out of my car and walk in. While I sit in the doctor's office, I look around, observing everything hanging on the walls. The office is not very big, and the walls are the same eggshell white that most doctors' offices are. But the walls are also filled up with various certifications his doctor has gotten over the years. I just finished high school this year, and now waiting for summer to be over so I can start my freshman year of college. I have been looking forward to college for the usual reasons, to spread my wings and just get out in the world. The only thing that would make it better is to have Krystal by my side. Dr. Wilson just walked in. He is wearing his usual ripped jeans and graphic t-shirt. My eyes begin to water from laughing so hard. The shirt has an arrow that points toward his face and says, "My eyes are up here." His clothes clash against his white lab coat. I suspect that Dr. Wilson used to be a hippie at some point in his life, but he has been my doctor ever since I could remember and has always dressed this way. If it were not for the slightly gray hair that peppered his black hair, you would think he was my age. "So what is up, Eddie?" he asks me. "Are you feeling okay?" He walks around to the other side of his desk, takes his coat off and places it on the back of his chair. He has always hated wearing it, but usually puts it on for show when he has to go through the waiting room. "Yeah, Doc. I am good. I mean, my stomach hurts a little, but I am sure it is just nerves. It is nothing I cannot live with." I slump down in my chair to get comfortable. I feel a little out of sorts because I am dressed almost exactly like Dr. Wilson. I am in my own stonewashed jeans. My graphic t-shirt reads, "Superwoman is my sidekick." My mom hates it, so that is all the more reason to wear it. I am also wearing my black Converse high tops and my black leather belt with silver spikes. I have long black hair down to my shoulders. I am told girls think that is attractive. I also have a lip ring, but it is not because I care what others think. I just like it. When I turned 18 a few weeks back, my dad took me to get my first tattoo, a sleeve that encompassed my whole right arm. Suddenly, I am brought out of my daydream by Dr. Wilson snapping his fingers. "Sorry, Doc. I was a little lost in my own head. College is starting soon and all." I feign a smile. I really do not feel like smiling, but I cannot let everyone know I am apprehensive. "It is all good, Eddie. I completely understand. A new phase of life and all that. It can be quite the undertaking. So, show me where your stomach is bothering you." I stand up, pull up my shirt and point to the right side of my stomach. He walks up, pushes down slightly where I just pointed to, and causes me to jump. "That hurt," I think to myself as I wince. He makes an annotation on his chart and looks up at me. "I would like to run some tests if that is okay with you," he says. "Sure," I say. "I guess. When do you want to do them?" "I have some time now. I am a bit nervous, but I do not want to seem scared." "Cool. Let me go get a nurse, and we will get you taken back as soon as possible." He walks out for a moment and comes back in with a nurse. She is certainly easy on the eyes, I think to myself. She must be new. I have never seen her here before. Her hand goes to her hip as she is impatiently waiting on me. I must have spaced out again. She is wearing bright pink scrubs that suit her well. "Eddie," she says. Come with me. She is all business today. I try to make small talk with her, but she is not having it, though she is playful. That is enough from you, Mr. Smooth, she says. You do not need to flirt with me. From what I have heard, you have already found the missing piece to your heart. So let us get you poked and prodded. I stopped in my tracks. So much was going on. Not only had I been called out on my flirtatious ways, but how did she know about her? I have told the doc some things, but not enough to have this woman know that Krystal was the missing piece to my heart's puzzle. Hold up, nurse lady, I said teasingly. As much as I would love to let you run your tests, I am not quite certain what kind of prodding you think you will get to do. We just met. Let us slow down. This relationship is moving a bit fast. That is when it hit me, literally. I look up to realize that old Doc Wilson has just smacked me upside the head, Leroy Jethro Gibbs style. This must be how Tony DiNozzo felt, I thought to myself. There was Dr. Wilson walking by, laughing at the fact he had just smacked me. Hey, watch the hair, will you? I said as I turned around to look at him. He had a huge cat that ate the canary grin on his face. Watch how you talk to my woman, Doc said playfully. I would really hate for something to happen to your dignity during the next physical. Now quit flirting and get your tests done. Only Dr. Wilson could have gotten away with teasing me like that. It was all in good fun. No one was serious, but I did wonder how Maggie, the nurse, knew so much with so little information. Yes, sir, I said. Still, I cannot let him get the last word. That is not how we do things around here. So I turn around to where I am walking backward and tease back. Hey, do not worry if she wants me. I cannot help it. I am a younger and better-looking version of you. You will still be invited to Christmas dinner, and you will be on the card list. I will even send you pictures of our babies. I laughed as I turned around to follow Maggie into the lab. I did not realize she was Dr. Wilson's wife at first, but I knew he was married. It just took me a moment to put two and two together. Even though you are a pain in his backside, he still adores you, Eddie. He talks about you all the time. He even warned me that you are a huge flirt and have tried to charm every nurse on staff. But how about we just say you save your mad skills for Krystal, huh? Maggie proceeded to draw samples and run the other tests. They sent me home and told me that they were going to call me when they got the results. I am to keep my cell phone on, just in case I have to come back into the office. So I go on my merry way, after teasing Dr. Wilson and his wife just a little bit more. I pulled up to Steve's diner, and into the spot where Krystal and I usually park. She has arrived a few moments ahead of me, and is sitting at our regular booth by the window. She looks out at me and smiles. That smile could light up the darkest of nights. I have to fight the urge just to walk around like a lovesick puppy around her. I have no clue how much longer I can fight this, but I have got a plan. As I walked in, she jumped up and ran to hug me. She smells like heaven and sugar cookies, I think to myself. What is up, baby cakes? I ask her. How are you doing? She hates when I call her baby cakes, but I do it anyway just to ruffle her feathers. She is so cute when she is mad. I am not a freaking dessert, you dork. Have I not asked you to chill with that name? I would really appreciate it if you did. I know she is just teasing, as this is our usual banter, but I like it way more than I should. So, what have you been up to? She asks, changing subjects. Same old, same old. Just getting ready for school, flirting with pretty ladies. You know. Eddie, she admonishes me. Women do not like to be called babes. I could stare at her for hours on end. Her beauty has me captivated, and it is not just physical. She is the whole package. She continued, so I called you and you did not answer. What is up with that, bro? She knows I hate being called bro. Oh, I retorted. I cannot call you baby cakes, but you can call me bro. So not how this friendship works, baby cakes. She giggled. You know I had to get you back. Yeah. So where were you? I have something important to tell you. Since you did not answer, I just might have to withhold information from you. Do not go getting all worked up, woman, I teased. I had to see Dr. Wilson for my stomach problems. He ran some tests, and I am waiting to hear the results from him. So, what was this important thing you had to tell me? What important thing? Krystal, quit playing. Give it up, sugar lumps. I love messing with her. When I tease her, those baby blue eyes sparkle like a lake in the noonday sun. Well, she says, I guess I can tell you. I found this cute little coffee shop that has an open mic night with poetry, skits, and that sort of thing. I figured you liked to do that, so I had to tell you. She crossed her arms, like she always did when she was getting a little ruffled. Oh, and Eddie. Call me sugar lumps or baby cakes again, and I will definitely take this right baby cake and left baby cake, and give you some sugar lumps of your own. Got it, mister? I burst out laughing. She is so tiny that I could throw her with one arm behind my back, but dynamite does come in tiny packages. She is quite feisty. You know I love messing with you, I said. I know, Eddie. You are my best friend. So, are you going to go to that coffee shop? I would not pass on that opportunity if I were you. Of course, I am going to go. I mean, why should I deprive everyone of this beautiful face? You are so full of it. Well, my eyes are brown. We sat down and ordered our food. She may be tiny, but she can sure put some food away. Do not say that to her face, though. She made the last guy who emboldened himself to say that deeply regret it. Eddie, why are you staring at me? You know that is not nice. You amaze me with your foodiness. Oh, come on. You know I am an undercover fat girl. Suddenly, our wickedly awesome banter is interrupted by my crazy ringtone of Super Mario Brothers. Excuse me just a second, I said. Hello. The doctor is on the other end of the phone. He insists I come in because the news does not look good. I asked him to tell me over the phone that I could handle it. That is when he drops the bomb. He tells me the tests suggest cancerous activity in my upper digestive tract around my stomach. He continues on about enzymes, but I have already faded out at this point. Krystal, being my best friend, automatically sees that something is wrong.
Krystal.
My best friend, Eddie, has just delivered some of the most difficult news I have heard in a while. We have all been through so much in high school. Now that we are finally free and on our own, does he have to deal with worrying about bad news from a doctor? Life totally is not fair. As I leave Steve's diner, I can feel my heart breaking. I ask why so many times in my head. He is a bit chauvinistic from time to time, but he really does not mean it. He is genuinely the sweetest guy you can ever meet. I keep pinching myself in hopes that I will wake up, that it is nothing more than some horrible dream, but alas, no such luck. He is my best friend, so I have to be strong for him. I am sure he will make it through, but it is going to be a long road. Naturally, he wanted to see the doctor alone. There was no convincing him, but I am certain it was more that he wanted the ride to the doctor's to be by himself. This hurts so much. What if I lose him forever? What will I do then? No one understands me quite the way he does, not even my boyfriend Jimmy. After I have shed all of the tears that I can, I turn over my engine. I leave it idling for another 10 minutes before I am able to put it into drive. I know people get sick like this all the time, but this is just too close to home right now. I look up and suddenly I am home. I have no clue how I got here, though logically it is obvious. Jimmy is here. As soon as I see him, I break down and run inside. Right now, I just need him to hold me. I know he does not really care for Eddie, but he loves me. Baby? What is wrong? He asks as he wraps his arms around me. In between the sobbing, I reply, it is Eddie. What is Eddie? What did he do? They think he has cancer, I whisper. Oh my goodness, babe. I am so sorry. I know he is your friend. Do they know how bad? No, not yet, but apparently bad enough to show in tests right away. They have just called him in to get some more tests done, so they can figure out what stage it is in. Is there anything you want me to do? He asks. There is nothing we really can do, I reply. All we can do is just be there, and that is what I plan to do. He stiffens around me, but at this point I could not care less. If I have to choose between Jimmy or Eddie, it will always be my best friend, Eddie.
Eddie.
At noon the next day, I find it difficult to get out of bed. I am more aware of the pain and depressed on top of it, but if I lay there much longer, the pain will intensify. So I roll off of the bed and place my feet on the floor to head toward the bathroom. I knew I had pain medication left over from getting my wisdom teeth removed. I take a couple and then start my water for my bath. I am sure the warm bath will help me relax a little, at least enough to get me through until the pain medication works. I start to feel really bad for involving her like this, but something has got to give here. I have been waiting to confess my true feelings for her for a long time. I did not realize I had lost my chance until I found out Jimmy proposed to her. I look over at the caller ID and see it is Krystal. I decide to get it later. I just need some time to process all of my thoughts. You know that feeling you get when you do something really wrong, but cannot help it because you consistently rationalize the purpose for that wrongdoing? Yeah, I think the pain is not just from my stomach issues but from the guilt. The ringing stops but starts again. I look over again, and it is her. She is just going to have to give me a moment. I will call her back later and let her yell at me then. Right now, I am soaking. It took me a bit, but I finally relaxed. Just as the medication began to take hold of me, I climbed out of the tub and dried off. I walked into my bedroom to get some clothes on. As soon as I placed one foot in one pant leg, there was a banging at the door. It sounded like police and urgent. I hurried through, putting my clothes on quickly, and ran downstairs to see who it was.
Krystal.
The jerk is not answering my phone calls or returning my text messages. My mind automatically goes to the worst possible scenario. Maybe he is hunched over the toilet, too sick to answer, I think to myself. That thought still does not ease my frustration, so I end up throwing my phone. Eddie! I exclaim as I throw my phone across the room. That thing is resilient, I tell you. It definitely takes a beating. After 20 more minutes, I am going out of my mind. I slip on my flip-flops, grab my keys, and make my way to the car. I keep flashing a mental image of him, huddled over the toilet, getting violently ill from whatever we ate today. I am certain I broke a few traffic laws too on the way, but I could not care less. I arrive, run up to the door and beat on it like a police officer at a raid. It seems like forever before he finally opens the door, and boy does he look unwell. I know he does not feel well, but my temper gets the best of me for a moment as I begin to let him have it. Eddie, I called you twice. Why did you not answer? You had me worried. Are you incapable of pressing the green button? I stand there huffing and puffing from my rant. Eddie just looks at me calmly, as he always does. Are you done? He said softly. Look, I was in the tub. I took some medication and soaked for a bit to ease the pain. I was going to call you when I got done, I promise. I am sorry I lost my temper. I know you are in pain. I was just worried. Do you feel up to some company? He looked at me quizzically for just a moment and then said, Sure. Come on in. I will tell you what I know so far. I am sure it will do me well to tell someone. I have not even told my parents yet. You know, I am glad I have Eddie in my life. Sometimes I often wonder what it would be like to be with Eddie. He is my best friend. He knows everything about me and has never judged my mistakes, only helped me through it. Do not get me wrong. I love Jimmy, but Eddie will always be first. I do not think Eddie is interested, but at least I have him as a friend. That is better than nothing. As I start pondering these thoughts and walking through his living room, I start to wonder where his husband is. Jen has not been mentioned or seen on the scene since this erupted. I do not know. Maybe since he has not told his parents, he has not told Jen yet either. Still, he has been in pain for a while. I do not particularly care for her. I think she should be here.
Jimmy.
Krystal thinks I am asleep, but I am not. I hear every frustrated word she says about Eddie not answering his phone. To tell the truth, I am kind of mad. I mean, if that were me, would she get that worked up over me not answering? I know he has got cancer, and I should be more sympathetic, but he has been a thorn in my side since Krystal and I started dating. I am not stupid. I see the way he looks at her. She cannot see it, but I know I do. I cannot tell her to stop seeing him, because that will backfire horribly. Besides, he has a husband, for goodness sake. He should be focused on her, not my wife. Thoughts of the possibility of Krystal feeling the same way creep in my head when she acts like this. Does she really love me? I cannot put my finger on it, but it feels off, the way she talks about how much he is her best friend. I need to quit driving myself crazy. I have got to be at work in an hour.
Eddie.
The doctor called this morning and asked that I come to the office. They have all my results now, and they know what is wrong. I am partially relieved, but still apprehensive. I walk in and see Maggie. I do not really feel like chatting today, so I just tip my head in greeting. Today, I kind of went the lazy way as far as my clothes go. My stomach has been hurting badly, and I do not want my jeans to push on my stomach. So, I just put on a pair of sweatpants, a plain white t-shirt, and my surfer shoes. I cannot even tell you if I brushed my hair or my teeth before I left the house. As soon as they see me, they send me to Dr. Wilson's personal office, not one of those exam rooms. This cannot be good, but as I walk in, I opt for the love seat. If I am going to be told I am facing the worst, I might as well do it in style, right? Dr. Wilson walks in and he appears happy. This is a bit weird that he is coming to deliver my news in such a chipper mood, but he has always been odd. He lays my file on his desk and begins to talk. Listen, Eddie. I know this is not easy for you, but I know we have to do something. Not only that, but we have to do something now. Why? What is going on? I just want you in there for a few more tests and observations. It is normal to be anxious considering what you have been told, but your pressure was a bit too high. Plus, some of these other tests were not quite right. He pinched the bridge of his nose in frustration. The happy-go-lucky attitude he had initially dissipated. Is there someone who could come stay with you at your house once I release you from the hospital? I thought about Krystal once he asked that question. My plan was coming together nicely, but did I really want to carry through with it? The conversation continues. I have some decisions to make. Once I leave, I text Krystal.
Eddie.
I asked Krystal to bring me some clothes from my house and told her I was being admitted. Once I clicked send on my phone, I became overwhelmed with guilt but had to shake it off. What is done, I muttered aloud. She was coming, but at least I would get to be near her.
Krystal.
I called Jimmy to let him know what was going on, and that I was going to be at the hospital with Eddie for a few hours. He offered to come with me, but I told him that I would not be long. Do not get me wrong. I love Jimmy, but sometimes I just need to be away from him. Besides, I had to swing by Eddie's house first to get him a few clothes. So, I pulled up in front of Eddie's apartment building. This building is absolutely gorgeous. It is a 3-story building with wide white French doors. It is not exactly cheap either, but Eddie was left an inheritance by his grandfather. So he moved out just prior to his 18th birthday. He said I could stay with him, but with both of us having our significant others, it would be wrong. That did not stop him from leaving me a room. The inside of his apartment is not what you would think an 18-year-old man's apartment would look like. It is not the proverbial bachelor pad you would think. No, it is actually nice, Down his hallway, he has placed pictures, mostly of him and Jen, but there are a few of us in there. We looked so happy. Those were the days. I will never forget those. Though Jen does not live with him per se, it does look like it has a feminine touch. I cannot believe I am this lost in thought, when I need to hurry up. I walked into his bedroom and stared at his closet. I had not seen this part yet. I am absolutely astonished. It is all color coordinated. This should be pretty easy then, I thought to myself. I reach in and grab the most comfortable looking clothes. I have no clue what they are going to be doing, but I know I would want to be comfortable in the hospital if it were me. I grab his toiletries such as toothpaste and toothbrush as well as his music player. Since he has not called or texted yet, I decide to just sit and wait.
Eddie.
While I am waiting on Krystal to get my things from my apartment, I am sitting here in this hospital bed just relaxing and waiting on them to come do my admitting blood work when my phone rings. However, it is not Krystal. "Hey Jimmy," I say. "How are you doing?" Silence. Then he begins to speak. "Hey Eddie. Look, there is not a way to really say this gently, but I hope you understand that I am not trying to be unkind. So I will just come out and say it. I know how you feel about Krystal. I know how she feels in return. I may be many things, but stupid is not one of them. I love her dearly, but let me be clear, do not hurt her. Got it?" Yeah. I was not," I started to say, but the line went silent before I could finish my statement. I do not quite get it. I have no clue what happened, but I have got bigger fish to fry right now. I sent Krystal a text message to let her know that it is okay to come. Now that she is on her way, I start thinking. I do not think I have given off any vibes about wanting to hurt Krystal in any way. How does he know how I feel? What did he mean about he knows how she feels about me? I do not have as long as I think I do to mull over these things before Krystal comes bopping in my hospital room. After my conversation with Jimmy, I decided it was now or never. Even if nothing comes of it, I have to explain how I feel. As she sets my bags down near the fake wooden wardrobe in the corner, I ask her to come over to the bed. I have got to tell her something now, or else I may never get the chance or courage to do so again. "Krystal," I said, "I have something important to tell you. I need you to listen, but please try to understand." She nods, but I shush her before she can speak. I continue, "Over the years I have found myself falling in love with you. When you married Jimmy, I knew it was because your folks kind of forced you into it, but I have loved you even through then. And Krystal, I love you as more than a friend. I have held it for so long that I just cannot hold it anymore. I am not telling you this because of the situation I am in, but I have had a lot of time to think, and I feel it is right that I at least let you know." Her facial expression was blank. I could not tell what she was thinking, which is why the words she spoke next blew my mind. "You foolish boy. Why did you not tell me a lot sooner? I have always loved you too, but I always felt you thought of me as only a sister. When you started dating Jen in junior year, I lost it. I stayed home from school for 2 days because I could not stand it, but at least now we both know. If only things were different." She trailed off. The next thing I know, her lips are on mine. I cannot believe this is happening. I would have never seen this coming, but I gave in to it. Nothing outside of this moment exists. Nothing outside of this room exists. It is just us, frozen in time.
Krystal.
I cannot believe he has loved me all this time. It is unreal. I have loved him for so long. We sit there looking at one another for what seems like an eternity. I want to be close to him like I have never wanted anyone in my life. I cannot think of anything else. He was perfect. I know that he has not had any of his intravenous lines or anything put in yet. He just got settled in. I got up and locked the door to the hospital room. It really did not look like a hospital room. It looked almost like a hotel, but the only difference was it was most definitely a hospital bed. Still, I cannot help myself. I lean in and press my lips softly to his. Something shifted between us in that moment. The space between us vanished, and everything else faded into silence.
Eddie.
We lay there together, calming our breath after sharing ourselves so completely. I am stroking her hair, just listening to her breathe. This is all I ever want in life, but I know now I have to tell her. I hope it does not change things between us, because I want her to be mine forever. Krystal, babe, there is something I need to tell you. Okay, Eddie. You know you can tell me anything. Well, babe, you know how I got diagnosed with cancer? Yes, Eddie. That is why we are here laying in a hospital bed, she says as she laughs. This is so hard, but I actually do not have cancer. I have appendicitis. Silence fills the room, dragging its thunderous friend, tension. What? She exclaimed. You lied to me about something as serious as cancer. What could make you do that, Eddie? I did it to get you to notice me, Krystal. I did it so you would know how I felt. I was tired of waiting for you to leave Jimmy. I wanted you to see you love me too. I did it for us, Krystal. I want to be with you forever, and I know you want me too, babe. Now that the words spilled from my mouth, I realized how foolish I was to have done this. She was right, but I still hoped that she would see my intentions were to bring us together, or at least define us for the rest of our lives. I failed to realize how much it would truly do so. I do love you, and I did want to be with you. But I just cannot forgive this easily. That was a low, sick thing to do, Eddie. You could have found the courage and just told me instead of doing something like this. Do you know how many people in this hospital have cancer and would give anything to have just appendicitis? You know what? Do not call me. Do not text me. I really do not want to see you anymore. I cannot see you. I am a married woman, and I just made the biggest mistake of my marriage. Do not say that. I am so sorry. Please forgive me, I said as I reached for her. She had stood up and was already preparing to leave. No, there is no way I will forgive you. You are now gone from my life. If you want forgiveness, Eddie, tell Jen what you have done. The door slammed behind her as she walked out of my hospital room and my life forever. I believe I just felt my heart shatter into 1,000 pieces. I have made a terrible mistake.
Krystal.
I get down to my car, and I am just so furious. How could he do this to me? I just do not get it. He is not the person I thought he was. My heart is broken into 1,000,000 pieces. I cannot believe I gave myself to him. I feel so low right now. Jimmy does not deserve this, and neither does Jen. I have to tell them both, and move forward in life. Eddie is gone from my life. When I get home, Jimmy is not there, which is good. It gives me time to calm down and write Jen a letter. Dear Jen. First off, I need to tell you that I am so sorry. I have been in love with Eddie for years, and I think he knew because he played off my feelings for him. Eddie told me he had cancer, and I was by his side through it all. One night, while he was in the hospital, he told me he was in love with me. I was ecstatic, so I told him how I felt. This led to us being together. He then decided to tell me he did not have cancer, and that it was a ploy to get me to notice him. I am sorry for my part in this all. I just thought you should know. Sincerely, Krystal. I go put the letter in the mailbox just as Jimmy pulls into the driveway. Hey baby. What is wrong? He says, picking up on my frustration and heartbreak. Come inside, Jimmy. We need to talk, I said as I turned and walked into our home. I lead him to the couch and confess everything, but most importantly, I tell him I am done with Eddie and am willing to do everything necessary. I also tell him I want to move forward with him. After a long conversation, he looks at me and places his hands on top of mine. I can see the tears he is fighting back. I know I hurt him deeply, but he still forgives me. Krystal, I knew he was lying, but I could not prove it. I have always had a respect for boundaries for your friendship with him. I am more upset with him that he crossed a line. I know you did not necessarily want to marry me. I know your parents kind of forced you to, but I was hoping that in our year of marriage, you had come to feel a love growing for me. Jimmy, I do feel love for you. I loved you when we got married. I only did not want to get married because I was struggling with balancing my feelings for Eddie, but that is a moot point now. I am done with him. Baby, I trust you. Just do not let that happen again. It is going to be hard for me to show you I trust you, but please just keep it in mind. I am so lucky that he has forgiven me, and my marriage remains intact.
Krystal.
2 months go by, and I hear nothing from Eddie. Out of nowhere, I get this text. Eddie, I do not see why you would send her that letter to hurt her. She never did a thing to you, Krystal. Krystal, it does not matter, Eddie. Do not contact me again. I am moving forward with Jimmy. I just found out we are expecting a baby.
Eddie. A year later.
I try to forget Krystal, but it seems to be impossible. She is all I think about, and all I have thought about this past year. I even tried moving up the wedding date with Jen, and marrying her right away to give me someone else to whom I could turn my affections. But alas, the problem I have is that I do not care for Jen. I never really did, but she has been with me for a while. I figured, why not? The last time I spoke with Krystal, she said she was expecting with Jimmy. That kind of announcement forces one to move on from unrequited feelings. With that behind me, or so I thought, I decided to try new things. So, Jen and I start going to nightclubs together. I need the excitement in my life, but it still does nothing to fill the hole in my heart left for her. I know what I did was wrong. I hate this life I am living. I have no life without Krystal. I have to get this off my chest. So I go for a drive. Before I knew what I was doing, I ended up at Jimmy's work. I get out of my car, and he must see me coming, as he meets me before I make it to the door. Jimmy, we have to talk. Honestly, Eddie, I do not see what we have to talk about, but say what you have to say and get out of here. Jimmy, I know you never liked me, but I have to get this off of my chest. After I do, I promise I will leave you alone. Do you remember when I was diagnosed with cancer? Yeah, I do. Well, it was a lie. I never had cancer. I lied to get Krystal's attention so she would know how I felt. Before I told her, we ended up getting close. Just as those words exit my mouth, I feel the force of Jimmy's right hook land square on my eye. I deserve that, I said as I picked myself up from the ground. Yeah, you did, but I already knew. I did it because I care for her. Wait. What? You knew? Yeah, I did. And to tell the truth, if you really cared for her, you would not have hurt her like that. Now you have said your piece. Leave now before I blacken the other eye.
Krystal.
As I sit here at home with my 2.5-month-old baby, bouncing him on my knee, I am admiring his features. He looks so much like me. It is absolutely crazy. If it was not for Gage, my baby, I honestly do not know how I would have made it through what Eddie did to me. It felt like he did that just to be with me. I do miss him from time to time, but what he did was just unforgivable. It is now Gage's nap time. So I place him in his swing. It does not take very long before he is out like a light. I adore that swing. It has saved Jimmy and me from many restless nights. I go to sit on the couch and turn on the television to watch my favorite show. I pull the cover back off of the couch and get comfortable. Just as I get settled, my phone vibrates. Jimmy always usually sends me a text at this time of day, so I already figured it was him. Jimmy, Eddie came by my work and confessed everything. I could not help myself. I hit him. I am sorry, baby. Krystal, do not be sorry. He deserved it. I just put Gage down, so I'm going to rest too. I will talk to you in a bit. I adore you. Jimmy, I adore you too. I cannot believe that snake. How could he just show up a year later and try to start trouble? I do not get him. I try to take a nap, but I cannot. I am just too angry, so I pick up my phone and text Eddie. I honestly cannot even say why I kept his number, but I guess at least now it comes in handy. Krystal, Eddie, I do not know what you were trying to accomplish, but I told Jimmy the night it happened. Eddie, all I want is forgiveness, Krystal. I want you to forgive me. Krystal, not going to happen. If you want forgiveness, confess to Jen. I turn my phone off, because I do not want to hear anymore. I cannot believe him. He never ceases to amaze me.
Eddie.
Maybe Krystal is right. I know she sent a letter to Jen, but I did intercept it. Perhaps I should confess to Jen. She has never done anything wrong to me. She has been faithful, which is more than I can say for myself. As I pull up to our apartment, I see Jen is home. I decided, today is the day. I have already got one black eye. If she hits me, at least I will match. I walk in and she hollers from our room. Baby, is that you? She asks. Yeah, it is me, baby. Hey, can you come into the living room? I need to talk to you about something. I am so nervous that even my palms are sweating. On my way. She bounces into the living room. I hate to ruin her good mood, but I will have to use that to my advantage. I asked her to sit down. That is when I began to spill everything. I tell her every detail. Well, maybe not every detail. I did not describe what happened or how I felt. Her reaction was nothing less than what I expected, other than I did not get hit. At first she was silent, but then it all came out. I cannot believe you, Eddie. That is lower than low. After all that I have done for you, all that we have been through, this hurts, Eddie. It hurts in a way you will never understand. I am disgusted and do not think I can handle this. You cheated on me and then still married me? I know, I say. I do not expect things to be exactly as they were, but do you think you will ever be able to forgive me? I do not think so, Eddie. There is no going back. I think a divorce is best. You obviously married me for other reasons than affection, so this is not going to be as difficult for you. I am in absolute shock. I never saw it coming that she would leave me. She walks into our room, packs a bag, and tells me she is going to her sister's. She will be back for other things later, but she cannot stand the sight of me right now. I cannot say that I blame her. I cannot stand the sight of me right now. Now the house is silent and empty, aside from myself. I have nothing to do except wallow in my own self-pity, so I write out a skit for the gig I have coming this Friday. This is going to be the best show I have ever done. After I complete the skit, I decide to see if Krystal will come. Since she is not taking phone calls from me, I leave her a text. At least I know she will read it. Eddie, Krystal, I am doing a skit at the coffee house. I would like it if you came. It is this Friday. By the way, I told Jen and she left me.
Krystal.
I cannot believe Jen left him, but at least she knows. I suppose, since it is a surprise to her, he intercepted the letter I mailed to her. I am not happy with the part one played, but at least the cat is out of the bag. I cannot believe how we all ended up. If you asked me a year ago if I thought this would happen, I would have told you that there was no way. It is crazy, but here we are. I have a baby, and I am married to Jimmy, and his wife just left him. At one point I thought that maybe, just maybe, I would have been his wife at some point, but Jimmy has been there through it all. It is now Friday night, and I am sitting outside of the coffee house where he is supposed to be performing. I have no clue why I am here. I should not be, but nonetheless, I am here. I get out of my car and go inside. I find a seat that is out of his line of sight. I do not want him to realize I am here. It is only about 5 minutes before I see him step onto the stage. I feel my chest tighten and my hands tremble slightly. I have not seen him in a year, but that does not mean I was prepared to see him tonight, especially since he looks so handsome. "Hello everyone," he says. "Tonight, the skit I would like to perform for you is one I have written myself. It is about love, that 4-letter word. Not only that, but it is about unrequited feelings and what they do to a person over the years." The spotlight comes on, and this soft, captivating music begins to play. I am mesmerized by him and the words he says. It touches me deeply, bringing all the feelings I thought were gone back to life. I know the kind of feelings he speaks of because that is what I have for him. The feelings that are still there. The feelings that have shaken me to the core. The feelings that have changed me forever. When he is done, the crowd goes wild. There is not one dry eye in the house. I stand up to allow him to see me. Our eyes meet. I feel that same connection I felt before he betrayed my trust. He bows to the crowd and walks toward me. "Krystal. You came. I did not really think you would."
Yes, Eddie.
I showed up. I had to see you. Before I know what I am doing, I grab his hand and lead him somewhere private. Something in me takes over. It is the same something from that day in the hospital. I have no control. Everything I have held back for over a year comes rushing forward. I pull him close, and the world outside ceases to matter. Afterward, I regain control of my senses. "Eddie, we should not have done that. I am so sorry. I do not know what came over me. I have missed you so much, Krystal." "I have missed you too, but this is not right. I have a son now, and I am married. I have to think of what is right. I have got to go. I am sorry I came."
Eddie.
What just happened? I am floored that we just shared that tender moment, and she just left. I know she cares for me. There is no way that could happen, and she would not have feelings for me. I do not know what to do. I cannot go after her, but she made it clear she could not be with me. I head home in a stupor. I am beside myself. That is what I have been missing in my life this past year. Krystal means everything to me, and I do not ever think that will change. She is the kind of girl that gets under your skin, and once she is under your skin, there is no getting her out. I go inside my apartment, and every trace of Jen is gone, including her clothes, furniture, and everything. I know I should feel bad, but I do not. I actually feel relieved. Relieved I no longer have to live a lie. Relieved that I am freed from the secrets I have kept for the last year. I freshen up and go lay down in my room, even though I know I will not get any rest because Krystal is on my mind. I pull out my journal and start to write. I vow to write every day until I have her by my side.
Krystal. 4 months later.
Today has been a day. Gage was on it today. He is 6 months old now, and he can crawl. So that means he gets into everything, which keeps me on my toes. Jimmy is at work like normal. He is either working or out with his friends. I can feel us drifting apart, and I really do not care. Gage is the only reason I am still with him. I do not care for him, and sometimes I do not think I ever have. The only good thing that came out of it was Gage. I cannot wait till the day I can get out of this marriage. I start dinner, because it is 7 in the evening and Jimmy should be home by now. He is not, which means he must be out with the guys. This is good for me because he will come home, eat and then pass out. That means it is less time I have to play the caring wife role. I am really finding myself getting sicker and sicker of playing that role. Dinner is done, and it is time for Gage's bath. It is now 10 at night, and Jimmy still is not home. To heck with it. I am going to freshen up and get some rest. I turn on my box fan, crawl into my room, and take no time drifting off. Immediately, I begin to dream of Eddie. I have one of the most vivid dreams I have had in a long time about him. It is now obvious that rest is not in my future. I get up and get dressed. I check to see if Jimmy is out, and he is. He must have really tied one on tonight. I go into Gage's room to check on him, and he is resting peacefully too. Before I realize what I am doing, I grab my keys and get in the car. I decide to drive around for a bit until I am drowsy. The next thing I know, I am sitting outside of Eddie's apartment. Decisions.
Chapter 2. Jen.
I have just left Eddie for good. I cannot believe that after all we have been through that he would cheat on me. I mean, if he were ever to cheat on me, I knew it would be with Krystal. Yet, it was not one of those accidental things where you end up being in some awkward situation and end up getting close to someone. This was premeditated. After proposing to me and marrying me, he still planned this. What am I? Chopped liver? How dare he just cast me aside like that? Does this boy not know that I have been in love with him since middle school? Did our relationship, all of those times we spent alone together, mean absolutely nothing? The closeness between us, was that all just a part of his ruse? I suppose it is like the old adage says, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Well, he will not get that second chance. I watched as his eyes lit up every time Krystal was near. The funny thing is that she claimed to be in love with Jimmy, but her eyes sparkled just the same for Eddie as his did for her. Poor Jimmy. Here I am sitting and wallowing in my woes, but Jimmy is in the same boat. His marriage to Krystal has been a sham, and they even have a child. I am thankful I did not have a child with Eddie. Still, I cannot help but think back on all of those years we spent together. There were signs, but I did not want to see them. I cannot believe it. We have all worked so hard to get to where we are. It is absolutely amazing. I have everything I could ever want. Good grades, college offers, great parents, and of course the perfect boyfriend. I have been chasing after Eddie for quite some time. I have dreamed quite often about becoming Mrs. Edward Chavers. I always thought he would end up with Krystal, you know? I mean, they spend so much time together that it is almost as if they are a couple. I try not to let jealousy take over, but it is so hard. I see them always walking, matching stride for stride, and laughing. I want so much to be that person in Eddie's life, but at least he is mine now. He says he loves me. The way he holds me almost reminds me of those romance novels, you know. His touch is so gentle yet firm. It reminds me of the cowboy type, but Eddie is so far from the cowboy type. As a matter of fact, he is not really even the kind of guy they first typically go for. I usually go for the tough guys. You know, the cowboy, the biker, or the fighter. I have always dreamed of ending up with someone whom I can just feel protected with. So you ask, why Eddie? I have even asked myself that one on many occasions. It could be his smile, that movie star's $1 million smile. It could be the way he exudes confidence while trying to hide in his own shadow. It could just be because of his beautiful eyes. He is so beautiful, like a masculine Botticelli. I guess that is why I crave him so much. He is like a sweet addiction. I know this sounds creepy. I sound obsessed. I am not obsessed like that. I have dated other guys in high school, but there is just something about him. But now it is our senior year. He has got his own place, so we do not have to worry about prying parents when we spend time alone. Well, when we manage to get time alone. Almost always, we have a tag-along under the name Krystal. I had to distract her, so I managed to set her up with Jimmy. He is on the football team, but not the typical jock. Rather than being loud and boisterous, he is quite stoic. He is perfect for Krystal. She can do all of the talking and rarely will Jimmy argue. He is a peacekeeper. He can be a jerk from time to time as well, but only if certain buttons are pushed. You see, Jimmy is one of my cousin's best friends, so I have his ear. I also know exactly what he is planning, and he will be proposing to Krystal on graduation night. That should remove her from Eddie's focus for a while, so that maybe our relationship will bloom. I know Eddie loves me, but with Krystal hanging around like a lovesick puppy, that nonsense has got to go. Eddie is my boyfriend now, and it is just a matter of respect as far as I am concerned. There they are now. Hey honey, I said to Eddie. Hey Krystal, I said to the leech as I smiled. Hey Jen. What are you up to? Krystal asked. Well, I was just going to see if my honey, I said, looking at Eddie with my sweet doe eyes, wanted to go with me to the mall. We could do our graduation photos. Yeah, that would be great, he said. My heart fluttered. I was excited to spend some time alone with him. Can Krystal come? He asked. And that, my friends, was the knife in the proverbial chest. Did he not understand that I needed some alone time with him? I have been patient as I can be. I do not have to go, Krystal said. Actually, Jimmy wanted me to spend some time with him. He has been saying he feels ignored lately, with all of the senior planning stuff. I figured he understood since he went through it last year, but I guess I have been spending too much time away from him. Ah, it would have been awesome if you could come, Eddie responded as he tousled her hair. If they had not been best friends for ages, I would have completely lost my composure. Eddie seems to think I am this docile woman who will take anything, but that is because he has seen the gentler side of me. If lines are crossed, I cannot say what I would be capable of. Yeah, Krystal. That is a shame, but I know Jimmy has missed you a lot. My cousin says he is a changed man since you two started seeing each other. He said he had a surprise for me this weekend. It is our anniversary, and he said he wants to take me out to a special place. He will not tell me where. She crossed her arms in a pout and then looked at me. Say, Jen. You do not know where he is taking me, do you? Nope, I replied, shaking my head. And I would not tell you if I did. If he is planning a surprise, no one except him knows. He is strange like that. Most guys tell their buddies, but not Jimmy. He will not even tell my cousin until the day of something, or after it happens. Well darn. The bell rang. We had less than a month to go of our senior year, and then we would officially be high school graduates.
Krystal.
I look back on everything and cannot help but feel horrible. I have known for such a long time that I have been in love with Eddie, but I thought he had eyes for Jen. I mean, sure, in high school we hung out a lot, but he would easily ditch me to go spend time alone with Jen, even though I was with Eddie. There were several times he could have invited me and Jimmy along. During the times that we would all four hang out, I would secretly pretend that it was Jen and Jimmy dating, rather than Jimmy and me. I would pretend I was with Eddie. Every time I saw Jen lace her arm with Eddie's, I would pretend it was me. I know it seems obsessive, but we were in high school. It is natural to want to be near something you covet. I think about our last month as high school seniors. So much was changing so fast. I had no idea what was happening. About a month after graduation, Jimmy and I were celebrating our 1-year anniversary. Technically, it was our 4th year, but we were on and off again so much that it was hard to keep track. That was until the month before the junior year ended. Suddenly, we got really serious about each other, and it all made sense. So I was thinking, babe, Jimmy said. What if we go out somewhere really nice this weekend, for our anniversary? He and I were having lunch together. Eddie was dealing with finalizing some papers for his. He is always putting stuff off, so it was just Jimmy and me alone. Do not get me wrong. I loved Jimmy at the time and still love him in a way, but I think it was more so that he was safe. I could depend on him. He got up, went to school, went to work, played football until the season was over, and pretty much stayed busy. He was always doing something. He was always up at 4:30 in the morning, made his bed, and even kept his room clean. What kind of teenage boy does that? I mean, most guys were like Eddie. They slept in when they could, avoided making a mess in the first place so they did not have to clean it, disliked working, and certainly did not care for sports. Something was fascinating about Eddie. He was an old soul, but more a troubadour. I liked that. Jimmy was too grown up for me, and rarely any fun. Sure, I said. That would be nice. Where are you thinking? I was hoping it was not just to Applebee's or Charlie's, like every other time. He said he was taking me somewhere nice. He was so predictable most of the time. Well, that is the thing. I want it to be a surprise. Okay, so he is not as predictable as I thought he was. I responded, a surprise? Yeah. I mean, sure, we have only been seeing each other a year straight now, but we have really dated for almost 4. I kind of think that should be something special to celebrate, you know? I have been working really hard to plan this surprise, so I hope you are definitely free Saturday night starting around 4 in the afternoon. You do not work Saturday? I asked. This was definitely different. He always worked until about 5 or 6 on Saturday evenings, which left him Sundays only as an off day. Most of our alone time as a couple was spent during the school day or 2 of the 4 Sundays he had free a month. I suppose that was his way of keeping everything balanced, you know. I would get half of his off days where we would just go hang at the river or something, and then he would hang out with his buddies going fishing or hunting on the other Sundays. This arrangement was totally fine with me at the time, to be honest. That left me more than enough time to hang out with Eddie around his schedule with Jen. She did not demand a lot of his time, but the actual timing of it was always odd. So Eddie and I hung out at odd hours. Since he lived on his own, and my parents did not particularly care what I did as long as they were not bothered, I would come over and hang out after Jen would leave. We would stay up on Friday nights, and on Sundays I did not spend time with Jimmy watching low-budget horror flicks. No, I do not work Saturday. I know, it is the first time in about a year I had off aside from last July 4th, which fell on a Saturday. The boss is patriotic. So, I am off this Saturday and would like to spend an extra day with you. Do your parents have any plans for you? Jimmy, you know the answer to that. They never make plans that include me anymore. I do not fit their mold. So yeah, I am free Saturday. I did not mourn my entire relationship with Jimmy. When I did spend time with him, it was great. He was wonderful and made me feel cared for. He was sweet, gentle, loving, and all that stuff. Plus, he was incredibly attractive. I mean, watching him working hard outside made me feel butterflies, despite the fact I was often sitting in an air-conditioned room. He made me feel things in the pit of my stomach that I never thought possible, but my soul simply belonged to Eddie. We were twin souls, he and I. But unfortunately for me, it was unrequited love. So I would take the love from a wonderful boyfriend who treated me well. Great. Well, hey, the bell is about to ring to move on to the last period. I work tonight, so I will call you later? Yeah, that is cool. Love you. Love you too. He stared at me for a moment before heading toward his class. In the hall on the way to the 5th period, the last period of the day, I ran into Eddie. So we walked and talked for a while down the hallway. We had the 5th period together. It was not long before we ran into Jen. Hey honey, she said to him. Hey Krystal. The look on her face as she spoke to me was priceless. She looked like I was a threat, but that facial expression left quickly. I think it is just natural that most girls are jealous. I would never cross those lines and make a move on Eddie, unless I knew for certain he was seriously ill, or if he had broken up with Jen. It would be wrong on so many levels if I did anything. I know I would not want it done to me.
Jimmy.
Everything has been a total mess lately. I know my wife cheated on me, but for some reason it did not hurt like I thought it would. I almost want to say that I saw it coming. I have seen the way Eddie looks at her for years, but I figured that he would have never tried anything because he always seemed afraid of his own shadow at times. It is not that I am a bully, but I have always been a hands-on kind of guy. I play sports. I hunt. I fish. I work in all aspects of construction. I plan on going to college so I can get my degree in drafting and design. I want to design homes. This basically means I am a pretty stout guy. I am built, but I do not necessarily use my size to intimidate folks. However, I had to do so recently when Eddie tried to approach me. My wife was honest with me about what happened, which I know does not necessarily happen a lot. I knew what happened, but I certainly was not ready to hear it from his mouth. I do not know what came over me. All I know is that he started talking, and my natural instinct to swing at him took over. I do not remember much until I saw the evidence of the impact on his face, the swelling already forming on his jaw and beneath his eye. I started to feel bad, but stopped the moment I recalled why he looked the way he did. "And I will give you a matching set if you do not get out of here, Eddie," I shouted after him. He left without much else to say. I just went back to working on my truck. The blasted starter had been giving me fits, and I was trying to rebuild it myself. This was the 4th time I had reinstalled it with hopes that it would turn over the engine. No luck. I threw my wrench at the engine. It bounced back at my hand and cracked my knuckle. "Son of a," I shouted as I cradled my hand in my other, biting back the rest. I decided to leave the engine alone for a bit. I was too angry to be fooling with something that required concentration, and Eddie had certainly knocked off my concentration. Krystal was not home at the moment. I went inside, poured myself a glass of iced tea, and sat down to enjoy the air conditioning for a moment. I looked around at everything. Gage's swing was over in the corner. Photos lined the walls. Krystal and I had made a nice life for ourselves here so far. My dream was to take her away from all of this. She does not realize it, but I have been saving money to move her and Gage out west. Maybe we would land in Seattle. I hear it is beautiful out there. Montana sure has some spacious land. We could own a horse ranch. Maybe we would move out to New England. Vermont, I am told, is beautiful in the fall. So many thoughts spiral in my head. My mind drifts back to the year after I graduated, the year I proposed to my wife. It was her senior year, as it was Jen's and Eddie's. I planned the perfect night for her. I managed to get an entire Saturday off from work. Of course, I told my boss that I was going to propose to my girlfriend. I am certain that had a lot to do with it. He gave me the day off with his blessing and told me I could come to work late Monday if I wanted. I recall how I considered it, but if I was going to do the right thing and make a life for my soon-to-be wife, I needed to work as much as possible. I made reservations at a really fancy Italian place outside of town called Rotolo's. It had a very quaint and private atmosphere, something I was looking for. This was a private moment. I wanted it to be special. Everything was planned to perfection, but that is just my opinion. I would take her to dinner. Then we would go outside on the patio alone and dance to the violins playing "I Cannot Help Falling in Love with You." I would sing softly to her in her ear, something she has never heard me do but that I am told I am really good at. When the song was over, I would retrieve the box from my pocket and get on one knee, which would signal the violinist to play her favorite song softly, Vivo per Ella. While that played, I would ask her to be my wife. My memories skipped forward to that exact moment in which my plans became a reality. Nothing could have prepared me for the look in her eyes, or how beautiful she would look that night under the light of the full moon, as the light cascaded over her sun-kissed, creamy skin. She is beautiful, I recall thinking. Her hair was perfectly pinned to her head in a way that made her look like Rachel McAdams, with dark hair. She does not wear a lot of makeup, which is something I love about her, but she wore a little tonight. You could barely tell. Her lips looked so soft and inviting. I just wanted to stop everything at that moment and kiss her the entire night. My lips were longing to be pressed against hers, but I had to fight the urge. I needed to make this woman mine forever. Marriage is not something I take lightly. I am a bit old-fashioned in some of my beliefs. I feel that once you get married, despite everything that happens, you stay married. You try to work it out. You forgive each other. We are all human. We make mistakes all the time. I know that if she says yes, I will end up making some stupid mistakes in our marriage. I may leave the lid off of the mayonnaise jar and leave it out on the counter. I might forget to put the toilet seat down. She may feel after the honeymoon phase is over that I do not pay enough attention to her. She might even think I am seeing someone else, but it is only her. Despite whatever may happen, it is only her. She is who and what I want for the rest of my life. After the music ends, and I finish whispering in her ear that I cannot help falling in love with you in my best Elvis Presley impression, I slide my hand down her arm and toward my coat pocket. I reach in and wrap my hand around the black velvet box. I hold it for just a moment. Our lives are about to change forever. I draw the box from my pocket while opening it, and simultaneously falling to one knee. I took her hand and presented the box to her. The look on her face is something that will be etched into my memory forever. Krystal, I have been able to think of no one but you since middle school. I have wanted no one but you. My heart is sold. It is you I want to walk through this life with, forever. Will you marry me? Tears streamed down her face. I doubt she was expecting anything like this. I know I come off as sort of stoic to her or hard. I know I am not outwardly sentimental. However, if people knew the real me, they would probably think I was some sentimental slob. Well, I kind of am. I like what I like, and I cannot help that. Still, I sit here on this couch, thinking about all of those precious moments. I recall the day she told me she was pregnant with Gage. I was ecstatic. Most men hope for a boy to carry on their traditions. While I was happy to discover she was giving me a son, I secretly hoped for a girl. She would be Daddy's princess. I would buy her a pony, read to her, and dare any boy to hurt her. Still, when she showed me that home test with 2 little lines, I went through the roof with joy. I think she was expecting a different reaction. We had barely been married, and now we were expecting. I know she probably did not expect to have children this early in our marriage, but I believe she will settle in once the baby is born. And did she ever? As soon as little Gage was born, she went into instant mommy mode, as I call it. She was perfect with him. I would get up in the middle of the night with him to give her a break, but by the time I got to Gage, she already had him nestled in her arms, half asleep. She would tell me to go back to bed. I admit I was kind of jealous at first. I was not jealous of the attention she gave Gage. It is natural for a mom to be attentive to her baby. I was more jealous of the amount of time she got to spend with him. I work so much, and it would have been nice to have a few special moments with him. But the thought of his toddler years, and those moments he would trail after me while I fixed stuff, usually made me feel better. He would be my buddy. I would make sure he had a toy lawnmower with toy tools so he could fix stuff too. And maybe one day, we can give him a little sister to protect. I am still sitting here on this couch and thinking about everything. Krystal is not home. I wonder where she is, but things have seemed tense as of late. So I am trying to give her space. I know this much about women. If you try to force them to talk, you can end up getting in deep trouble. I want her to know I am here when she is ready to talk, and will listen. I figure it is now 11 o'clock at night, so I should probably get some sleep. She must have gone to her parents' house with Gage. Maybe I did something wrong and did not realize it, so she went to her folks to cool off. I lay here, and my eyes finally feel heavy enough to drift off to sleep.
Eddie.
How did we all get here? Things have become completely chaotic as of late. I mean, I have known I loved Krystal from day one, but how did things get so complicated? Why could I not just be a good boyfriend and stay faithful? Why did I have to be such a horrible person? I mean, I cannot believe I actually lied about cancer when it was just appendicitis. I am such a fool. I start to think back on times when things were so simple, when I was so much better at hiding my feelings for Krystal. Senior year of high school was interesting for me. I gained so much freedom at such an early age, but I was never the partier. I like to keep my social circle pretty small. So far, it is just Jen, Krystal, Jimmy, and myself. Jimmy is one that I do not particularly care for. I have never been good at being friends with a jock, but he seems somewhat decent. He does not act like the typical jock. He seems to treat Krystal pretty well from what I can see. That is important. If I cannot have her, I would rather the person who did have her make her happy. She seems to be happy, but bored. I guess it is because between work, hunting and fishing, she might not feel like a priority, but then again, she has got to realize that Jimmy lives in a different world than we do. He has already graduated. That means that he has to live in the world of an adult. He has to pay for his own meals, a roof over his head, and all that. Not only that, but he has to work for the money to pay for all of that, unlike me. I just essentially had it all handed to me. Do not get me wrong. My family is not rich by mega millionaire's definition, but they were well off enough for my grandparents to leave me a nice inheritance that pays for the life I want to live. My grandparents have always known I was different. My family is the cookie-cutter type of family. Think Leave It to Beaver meets the Brady Bunch. I am more of a Green Day type of kid. I am laid back, but I do like my home to be clean. Everyone thinks I have decorated my home and clean it to perfection. Well, those who do get to see it seem to think so. However, here is the secret. My mom did the decorating and I have maids come in 3 times a week. I am a teenage boy, for crying out loud. You honestly think that my house would be this clean from me doing it? Think again. Anyway, I am preparing for a recent gig I got at this club. I am about to go put on a show. I have invited Krystal, but not sure if she is going to come. I know she has the baby and all. I sit here in my dressing room and think about everything in general. I remember the first day I laid my eyes on Krystal. She moved here in 8th grade, but she did not notice me right away. I certainly noticed her, though. Goodness, she was gorgeous. Summer had been more than kind to her in so many ways. I could not even begin to think about my own lanky body. Her eyes made the night sky look as if there were no stars left. I could stare at her for hours. Her skin was so smooth, so perfect. I was fighting a horrible bout with acne. I also looked like a fence post. I remember Jimmy at this time, too. He was already built like a grown man. Summer had been far too kind to him, in my opinion. One time, I was about to approach Krystal, but Jimmy got there first. He asked her to sit with him at lunch. If only I had gotten there faster. Fast forward in my thoughts to high school. Those were better years. Krystal and I were really starting to bond, but I could not show her I had a crush on her. She and Jimmy were on and off again, a lot. I tried to give her space to get over him. Just when I thought enough time had passed, she would wind up dating him again. It took me a couple of years, but I finally figured out that I was not going to have Krystal. I was officially friend-zoned, and it seemed like it was for good. I would have her, though. One day, she would realize that I am her best friend, something that makes me the better option for her as the man in her life. One day, I tell myself aloud. Still, being in the friend zone was better than not being in her life at all. I would rather have that than nothing. So I settled on my second choice, Jennifer Raven Sanford. She was just as beautiful as Krystal, but in a different way. Jennifer, or Jen as we called her, did not have the passion for life that Krystal seemed to have had. Jen just seemed to float along, coasting through whatever life threw at her. Krystal knew what she wanted, or thought she did, and made sure she got it. She was a take-charge kind of woman, my kind of woman. Being with Jimmy seemed to have quieted her spirit far too much. I could not stand it. I was so glad when Jimmy graduated. I could finally get to spend all the time I wanted with Krystal, though I had to balance that and time with Jen. I could not have Jen finding out how I felt about Krystal. Jen was a wonderful person. She was sweet, charming, kind, and had a huge heart. She had plans for us. I know this, but she was not Krystal. So I had to get my fix as best as I could, and as often as I could. I did not want to hurt Jen. That is why my recent actions have been so horrible. I hate myself for it, but the show must go on. Suddenly, there is a knock at the door. The stage manager shouts through the thin particle board door, 3 minutes, kid. I am snapped from my memories. I have got to finish getting ready for the show. I wish Krystal would come.
Krystal.
Eddie does not know I am here. I hide in the back where I know he cannot see me. What am I even doing here? I cannot believe that Jen actually left him. Gage is with my mom. I am glad she is not the kind to ask questions. Then again, I rarely ask her to watch Gage. I am kind of mad at him though, for intercepting my letter to her. Is that not some sort of federal offense? I mean, I know it was catty of me to have mailed her in the first place. I should have done it in person. He did not act alone. I will always regret not controlling myself. I was the one who pounced on him, after all. I continue to think back. I recall that night Jimmy proposed to me. I definitely never saw it coming. He planned everything so perfectly. The restaurant, the violin quartet, and the way he sang to me that night. Everything was just so perfect. I definitely do not deserve him, that is for sure. He is such a good man. Why is he even with me? What have I done to deserve him? I have cheated on him with my best friend, but he has forgiven me with no troubles. I know it hurts him deeply. Yet here I am again. I find myself here to see Eddie's show, and cannot fathom why I am even here at all. Suddenly, he walks out on the stage. Goodness, he is so beautiful, like a Botticelli angel sitting there beneath the harsh stage lights, but they have no effect on his smooth skin. He looks perfect. He opens up talking about love. What does he know of love, I ask myself. He talks about unrequited love. My love was not unrequited. It was redirected, as I thought he was in love with Jen. I mean, he was with her a lot longer than I was with Jimmy, if you add up the actual time we spent dating, that is. I find myself looking at him and feel my heart growing soft. The fire that I have held for him still burns. I am so torn. What about Jimmy? He is the perfect man, but maybe not the perfect man for me. I do not deserve him. He is so thoughtful but stoic. Eddie's eyes are locked with mine. He sees me now. Is the show over? Oh, I missed it, did I not? I was far too lost in the torrential sea of my own thoughts to truly pay attention to what he was saying. I must have him. I feel a surge of longing rise from within. I need him. I know I love Jimmy, but Jimmy is nothing more of an afterthought at this point. It is more like Jimmy who. Seeing Eddie here like this has driven me wild. I am consumed with my need for him. Like fire and ice, we clash, yet we are the same. The next thing I know, I am telling him to be quiet, and I am drawing close to him. The feeling of our mouths pressing together is an intense electrocution, and a welcomed assault on all 5 of my senses. I feel him beneath mine. I smell the intoxicating aroma that only he carries. I have seen him on stage, and I have become enamored with him once more. I hear his heart beating wildly as I continue to embrace him. I tasted the sweetness of the orange soda he had shortly before stepping on stage. Combined, it was all too much for me to handle. Just then, thoughts of Jimmy wandered back into my mind. Jimmy, my mind said to me. Oh my goodness, how was I ever going to face Jimmy again after what we had just done here in the restroom of a club? The man forgave me once. He certainly would not do it again. Would he? I have got to get home, but first I will drive around for a bit.
Jen.
Life is going to be very different for me. I know I have got to get an attorney and deal with all the mess that comes along with a divorce. I hate the idea of it. I am just glad that I have not had any children with Eddie yet. Divorce is always the hardest on the children. I look around our apartment. He is not here right now, which is a good thing. I could not handle him being here at this moment. I need to be alone with my thoughts. I loved Eddie. I still do, but my heart cannot handle the hurt. I do not even see how Jimmy has been with Krystal all this time. I wonder if he even really knows what happened. If he does, then I suppose I may be angrier. I hate being the last to find out important things. It is absolutely driving me batty. I walk into our room and grab my set of suitcases. I know I have to pack, but this is so hard. This is not some business trip I am going on. This is not just a visit to my folks' cabin in Tennessee. This is a forever kind of trip. I call my cousin up, Jimmy's friend. He has been like a brother to me since we were tiny. Hello, the voice on the other side says. Yeah, Chris? Hey, Jen. What is up? You sound upset. I am. Want to talk about it? Oh, Chris. He cheated on me. I will make him pay. No, Chris. I will need your help though. What? Yeah, he needs to face consequences. He broke your heart. Since it is a crime to end someone, I cannot break his. He needs something broken though. I laugh. Chris, assault is illegal too. Bah, it is just a misdemeanor. I will just get probation. It will be well worth it. I am sure I can get some help. So, who did he get involved with? I did not want to tell him. Jimmy was his best friend, but I felt like I would be talking about Jimmy's personal business. I hated to gossip, but it was my business to tell too. So, I began to tell him. Chris, he was with Krystal. Silence. Chris? Yeah, I am here. I am just processing this. You mean to tell me that he was with Jimmy's Krystal? The one and the same. And Jimmy did not rip him apart? You know Jimmy is not like that. He is a gentle giant. Yeah, I know. So, what do you need me to do? I am up for anything. I need help collecting my things from this apartment, and I need a place to stay until I can find myself an apartment. I am on my way. The line went quiet. Chris was not one for sentimental small talk, and rarely actually said goodbye on the phone. He said what was needed, and that was that. It was just his way. I am sure at this point he is in his truck and on the way to my house, and calling Jimmy. Man, I wonder how Jimmy is going to take this. I do not even know if he truly knows everything. Eddie sure gave me a major information dump. Forget this. I am leaving Eddie, and Jimmy can sort out his own problems with Krystal. I open the dresser that holds mine and Eddie's clothes. His are to the right, while mine are to the left of each drawer. I grab my clothes and begin putting them neatly into the large suitcases. The drawers look so empty now. It is just how I feel at this precise moment. The similarities are hilarious, actually. I feel numb. I know I am hurting, but I feel absolutely numb to the sensations of the pain his admission has caused me. Why would he even bother marrying me if he loved her all along? Why would he have let her marry Jimmy, without at least telling her how he felt before they even got engaged? Why even ask me to marry him? I placed the last pile of clothes in the suitcase that belonged to me, and heard a knock on the door. It must be Chris, I think to myself. I walk out of the bedroom and to the door. Sure enough, it is Chris. Without saying a word, he wraps me in his big arms and gives me a warm embrace. He kind of reminds me of the Hulk, only less green. He is huge. This is why he is my brother, from another mother. He protects me like a kid sister. So what all am I loading up for you? He asks. Definitely right to work it is. I point out various boxes that I have packed up, along with a few pieces of furniture that I bought, or that were given to us for our wedding. He is definitely strong. A lot of the furniture he was able to grab with no help whatsoever. The only thing I had to help with was my favorite recliner, and that was just because it was bulky. We loaded up the last of the stuff. He went down to start the truck. I stood on the threshold of the door, looking back on the echoes of our life in that apartment. We had so many happy times together. I would have never seen this coming. So I closed the door and locked it for the last time, and then I slipped the tiny envelope holding my key underneath the door. It was finished. I was gone.
Eddie.
I stare at the apartment that I shared with my wife. A sense of relief comes over me. I know I love Jen, but my heart is still yearning for Krystal. Why am I doing this to myself? I just let this amazing woman leave my life because I am pining for another that I cannot have. I lay in the room I have shared with my wife for the past year. I want Krystal, but as I lay here trying to rest, I find myself growing a little saddened by the empty spot beside me. I feel like I am coming off of an obsession or something. Krystal is an addiction, one I have fought for a long time, but I just cannot get her out from under my skin. She's as much a part of me as my own skin, but I have just allowed this amazing woman to exit my life over her. I have got to have Krystal. If I do not, then maybe I will chase after Jen.
Krystal.
I arrived at my parents' house to pick up Gage. I decide to spend the night there in my old room, because, honestly, I do not want to deal with the fight that I know will happen because I was out. Jimmy is not controlling or anything, but for me to leave the house so late, I am sure there will be some sort of argument. Besides, I need to think about what I have just done. I mean, I essentially cheated on my husband again. I do not know what came over me. I cannot believe I have been such a horrible wife to such a wonderful man, but the heart wants what it wants. I need Eddie like I need the air to breathe. He has been my best friend for such a long time, and they often say that your true husband is supposed to be your best friend. So why did I not let it be known how I felt for Eddie long before marrying Jimmy? Why did I lead him on? Gage is soundly resting in the crib my parents keep for him here, next to me in my old room. He is such a precious boy. Even more amazing is that he has both of my best features, rather than what I think are my best features and his daddy's best features. He sure is a very handsome boy. I could not have asked for more than to give my husband a son, to carry on his legacy and all that. I think Jimmy wanted a girl though. He did not seem as enthused as I thought he would be when I announced that it was a boy. I do not know. I am sure he was just worried that Gage would not be healthy or something at first, like all first-time fathers are. Jimmy is the perfect dad to Gage. He plays with him, reads to him, takes him on walks outside, and shows him how to do things. Gage was even walking at 10 months old because he wanted to go outside with his daddy, and Jimmy told him he had to walk. So 2 weeks after starting to work with him a little, Jimmy had Gage walking. I was floored. So, if my husband is really this amazing, why do I desire another man so desperately? Why do I feel what I feel? I am definitely not going to get any rest tonight. Eddie, why can you not get out of my head? I say aloud to myself. I can still taste him on my mouth. I get up and go to the bathroom. I start brushing my teeth and swish the mouthwash so I can remove the taste, but it is still there. I walk back over and sit down. Gage is starting to stir, so I rub his back gently. My brain says I should quiet down, take the baby, and go back to my husband. My brain says that I should leave Eddie alone forever, and just pretend he never existed. My heart, however, disagrees quite strongly with my brain. It says I should chase for what I want. I deserve to be happy, but am I not happy? I have everything I could ever want, except for Eddie. Lots of decisions must be made, and soon.
Jimmy.
I have slept maybe a total of 3 hours tonight, but have tossed and turned the majority of that time. I feel as if I do not do something, I am going to lose my wife to that twerp. Part of me is angry, very angry. I just want to snap Eddie in half with my bare hands, but I cannot let myself do that. Too much is at stake here. There are parts in the good book that describe love. Now, I am not entirely religious, but it has a point. Love is not supposed to be boastful. Love is supposed to be patient, kind, gentle, and all that good stuff, so I am trying to be those things to my wife. I want her to see my heart. I want her to know that while the decisions are hers to make and as her husband, I will do what she sees fit. There are more people than just her and Eddie involved here. None of us are in high school anymore. I have been out for a few years now. Eddie, Krystal, and Jen have been out a year less than me, but we are all adults. The time for being childish is over, and to me this is childish. If Eddie really loved her, then he never would have put her in a situation where he would make her choose between her husband and child or him. He is being very selfish, but I do not know how to put that across without sounding like a fool. Maybe I should spend less time with the fellas hunting and fishing, and more time with her. But then again, I go hunting and fishing to help provide food. Sure, I enjoy it, but we get a few 100 pounds of meat out of hunting season and a few 100 pounds of fish each year I go fishing. I do this so I can save that money on groceries so she can do things for herself. I fix the cars myself, not because I actually like doing it, though it is kind of therapeutic, but because I like saving the money on giving it to a mechanic to fix. I try to spoil her as best as I can by giving her what she wants, even if she says she thinks she wants it. The one thing I am not willing to give her, though, is Eddie. Maybe that is what this is all about. I have given her literally everything except Eddie. I have pushed her toward him. I started really thinking that this was my fault somehow. What am I going to do? How can I fix this? So I call up my good buddy Chris. I am surprised when he answers. Hello. Wow, Chris. I did not think you would answer. It is me, Jimmy. Hey man. What are you doing? Well, Jen just left Eddie, so I am taking her back to my place. Yeah, I kind of figured that would happen. So hey, can you come over tomorrow? I might need your help with something. Sure, what time? Noon. Okay. See you then. I ended the call on my cell phone and laid back down. Hopefully, this whole ordeal would resolve itself very soon. I do not know how much more I could take of this, but I had a plan. I just hoped that my son Gage would not get hurt in the process. It was going to be tough, but I have won her heart before. Maybe I will win it again. I have been told that what it takes to win a woman's heart is what it takes to keep it. So if I have ever truly had her heart in the first place, it will be mine again.
Chapter 3. Jen.
Eddie's extramarital affairs have really hurt me. I am hurt, but I am angry. I have also been doing things I never expected a good girl like me to do. As a matter of fact, I have been following Krystal every day for the past 2 weeks. Yes, that is a nice way of saying I have been stalking her. I have not been following her 24 hours of each day, but I have known every movement she has made over the past 2 weeks. I have been waiting for her to go see Eddie. I know sooner or later she will come to him. I cannot believe I have been so blind though. The entire time he and I dated in high school, while we were engaged and after we married, I never noticed the looks they exchanged until hindsight took over. I was so in love with Eddie that I failed to see how he would always find an excuse to touch her or be with her in some way. He never did that with me. I am so angry that I have wasted 2 years of my life on that poor excuse of a man. I definitely never saw my life ending up like this, divorced, having to start over, and now bearing the title of ex-wife. I blame Krystal, but most of all, I blame Eddie. At least Krystal had the sense to attempt to have her own life for a while. I have been stalking Krystal because there are some things I need to say to her. She needs to know how I feel and what I think, woman to woman. Though I feel a deep urge to claw her eyes out, I have to behave like an adult about this situation. Oh no, I think to myself as I look up from my book. There she is. I knew she would come here at some point. I jump from my car, completely flustered, and walk up to Krystal before she reaches Eddie's front door. Krystal, I say to her. As soon as she turned around, she looked at me with horror written all over her face. I know I am the last person she ever expected to see here. We have known each other for years, and although we ran in the same circle for a while, we never really hung out much. Can we please talk? She said. Look, I just have some things I would like to get off of my chest, things I feel you should hear. So, will you come with me? I point to my car. She looks back at Eddie's door, at me, and then down at the ground. Yeah, she says. I guess it is time to face the music. We walk toward my car. I have no clue where we should go, so I just drive. I dislike driving in this town. It is full of so many memories, which flash in my mind. Over to the right is the big magnolia tree, where Eddie first kissed me. I cannot stand this. I need to get out of here. To keep from losing my mind, I begin to speak. I draw a deep breath and exhale sharply. Krystal, I need to tell you something, and I need you to completely hear me out. I am asking you to not say anything until I am done. Just listen. Can you do that for me? I would love to give her the look she deserves, but I have to keep my eyes on the road. Yeah, you have every right to be angry, so let us have it, she says. What you and Eddie did was wrong and selfish. I never thought the two of you would be so selfish. Where were your morals? Where were his? If the two of you decide that you want to be together, I cannot speak about it, but I need you to think about it. What if it had been Jimmy and me? Have you thought about that? How much pain would that have cost you? Do you even love Jimmy? Did the two of you even think about what you were doing to us? To your son? I briefly look over and see she is staring straight ahead, but not ignoring what I am saying. You can see she is taking it all in. Good. I was hoping this would not be some stupid cat fight. Your choices now are pretty simple, the way I see it. You can lose your husband and son to be with Eddie, or you can just walk away from Eddie. I need you to ask yourself if Gage and Jimmy are worth losing for your temporary happiness with Eddie. Which life will give you the most long-term happiness? We drive around for a few more moments. Finally, we parked where we were originally and just sat for a moment. She turns to me and says, I really did not intend to hurt you. I want to say that I simply lost control of myself, but I cannot say that. There is some point when a person realizes they are making a grave mistake, and they have the option to stop. I never stopped it. I do not think Eddie meant to hurt you either, at least, not intentionally. Look, I know this is not a good reason. Jimmy told me that he knew for years how Eddie felt about me, and even suspected that I might feel the same for Eddie, at least a little. I do not know if you knew for certain, but you had to have had your own suspicions at some point. Her words hit home. She was right. I chose to ignore all of my suspicions, and never even brought them up to Eddie. Not when he proposed, not when I said yes, and not the day we got married. Still, she continued to speak. I know this is not a good reason, but when he told me he had cancer and was going to pass away, well, I thought it was my last chance to let him know how I felt. It was a regret I was willing to live with. Again, it is not a good reason at all, but I hope you understand at least where my mind was. Eddie has had my heart since before the beginning of time, but that does not mean I love Jimmy less, or not at all. I love Jimmy dearly. I know I have not shown it, but I do. If I did not, I would not have been so torn about this. At this point, I can see the tears cresting at the edges of her eyelids and spilling over, running down her face. After a few moments of silence, I respond to her words. Krystal, I do not know your beliefs, but I have never known you to be a particularly immoral person before now. Can I make a strange request? Sure. Can I ask you to pray with me? Please? I can see she is obviously uncomfortable, but I think it is mostly from the fact that she simply did not expect me to ask that. At this point, I think prayer was going to be the only thing that saved this situation. I guess. So we prayed. We prayed for peace and comfort, but most of all, wisdom. I think that was the most important thing in our situation. We were all young and at the mercy of ourselves. So wisdom is something our age definitely does not give us, alongside our vitality. Yet, though she says she never intended to hurt me or Jimmy, a part of me wants to believe her. I know how she and Eddie have felt for years. He never hid it. Krystal gets out and walks to her car. I pull away from the curb, feeling a tad bit lighter.
Eddie.
I knew when I saw her get in her car, she was leaving. I know it was foolish of me to hope that she would come to me again after what I did. No matter what anyone says, that is hard to get over. I ruined my marriage, and we may have ruined hers. If I knew Jimmy, he would not have gone down without a fight. That man loves Krystal with every fiber of his body. I was selfish though, thinking of no one but myself. I have loved that girl since day one. And then I find out she loves me too. I really regret not speaking up in high school before either of us got married. I realize now that I never loved Jen the way that I loved Krystal. My phone goes off. At first I thought it was Krystal, but it was not. It was Lydia. I met her at my shows. She just started showing up out of nowhere. One night, she walks up and tells me she is working for a newspaper and wants to ask me some questions. I thought that any story about what I was doing was a great story, as long as my recent transgressions with Krystal were not discovered. We became fast friends. I started to get the feeling she wanted more, but I just cannot handle it right now. Looking back at my phone, I opened her text. Lydia, hey dork, want to get some coffee? Me, not really feeling up to being around people right now. Rain check. Lydia, sure, just let me know when. I hope you are not unwell or anything. Want me to come over? Before I could type anything, she sent another one. Lydia, I could bring soup. Me, nah, I am good. I just want to be alone for a bit. Message me later. I power the phone off, but I need to get my head straight. My gut is telling me that I have lost Krystal forever. I may have even lost her as a friend if Jimmy had his say about it. I suppose I fell asleep. I did not mean to, but I woke up to Close My Eyes Forever by Ozzy Osbourne and Lita Ford. That ringtone belongs to Krystal. I know what she is calling for. If I was the one she chose, she would be at my door rather than calling me. You do not have to say it. I already know why you called, I say as a greeting. You picked him, right? After everything, you stay. I do not give her any time to respond at all. You two have a great life. If I never see you again, it will be too soon. I have to go. Have a nice life, Krystal. I hit the end button, not caring how she was feeling at this point. I mean, she does not care. She chose Jimmy. I told myself to let it go. I will not let this destroy me. I picked my phone back up and unlocked the screen. I look for Lydia's name. I wonder if I am wrong to use her as a rebound. Probably so, but I am still going to do it. Why? Because I am that kind of jerk. Hey, good looking, you ready to give me my story? She answers after only 2 rings. It was as if she was literally waiting by her phone for me to call her. Oh yeah, I am going to give you a story. And if you play your cards right, I have got a whole lot more in store for you. The question of the day is, are you ready for my story? As I am talking to her, I am thinking I have got to get out of here. I need a distraction, and Lydia is the perfect one. As long as I get the story first. Business before fun, she says coolly. Okay, Lydia. Sounds like a plan. Where do you want to meet to handle business? I am looking around for my keys while talking to her, but it seems they have disappeared again. Sometimes my life just stinks. Let us meet at your place. I do not want to risk someone hearing the story before I have a chance to get it out there. Sound good? I look around the apartment. It has become your typical bachelor pad. Pizza boxes were strewn about, clothes all over the place, and just your worst nightmare. Still, I do not want to risk this. I am not desperate, but I need a change and need it now. When do you want to come over? I can be there in 10 minutes. Will that work? She said. 10 minutes, I think to myself as I almost panic. I guess I can have the worst of it spruced up in 10 minutes. I can hear her in the background shuffling paper, as if she is looking for something. Good. I am not the only one who loses things, I think to myself. Yeah, that will work, I replied. Just do not put anything about the shape of my apartment in your article, and we will be good to go. I chuckled as I started picking things up. How the heck did 4 pairs of my boxers end up in the living room? I think to myself as I am hanging on the other end. Forget it, I will figure it out later. I tossed them in the laundry basket. That will not be a problem at all, Tiger. I am not coming to do an inspection. I am coming over to do my article and see what kind of games you know how to play. Her voice dripped like honey with charm. What did you say? I asked, staring at the phone in disbelief. Ha! Oh please, Eddie. I can read you like a book. I have been trying to get your attention for weeks. I want to know what the big deal is about you. You are on the rebound, right? Well, sweetie, it is all good. I will be your rebound, but let me tell you this much. I know I will not be staying in rebound status for long, once I show you what I have got going for me. You are going to fall hard. So suck it up, Buttercup. Get ready for one of the best nights of your life. Suddenly, the line went silent. Did that just happen? I believe it did. Truth be told, I like Lydia too. She really is a great person, maybe someone I can see things happening with. Why did I not see it before? Because you are a fool chasing after ghosts of affections of a married woman you thought loved you, I admonished myself. At least I am now aware that it is time to truly move on. Krystal picked Jimmy. I know she loves him, but not quite like she loved or loves me. I still need to come to terms with the fact that she chose him. I can understand. She has a kid with him, but still, the heart wants what it wants. I suppose it is time to tell my heart that it needs to want something different. The knock on the door takes me out of my head. Has it been 10 minutes already? I walk to the door, hoping that the out of sight, out of mind approach works. When I open the door, Lydia is there. I do not know why I never noticed how pretty she is. I look her up and down. I do not know what she is wearing, but she is stunning. She has on black and white striped socks, combat boots on her feet, a short black skirt and a black tank top. That is where it starts to get interesting. Her face is bright. She has blonde hair, almost white, and eyes the color of Bahama waters. She has them lined in a dark blue, and they look like they almost pop out of her head. She really is beautiful. I smile at her and ask her to come in. She walks past me into the apartment and brushes against me. I smile at the thought of her. It is too quiet, so I talk just to break the silence. So, did I miss a party or something? Do you usually dress like that? Not that you do not look good, because you do. I am just saying, I have never seen you look the way you do now. I mentally smack myself on the back of the head. Really, Eddie? That is how you want to start the night? Before I got a chance to say anything else foolish, I felt her lips pressed to mine. My mind goes completely blank as I return her affection. I am completely lost, but suddenly, there is nothing but air. We have to calm down for now, she says as she steps back with a playful smile. I say we make this fun. How about a game of question and answer? She walks toward my sofa and makes herself at home. I am completely speechless. She was not kidding. It is definitely going to be a night to remember. She proceeds to explain the rules. The night unfolded between them, unhurried and electric.
Krystal.
I did not see that happening. I could honestly live the rest of my life without having to see Jen. I am just sitting in my car. I have no idea what to do. If I go to Eddie's door, Jen is right. Look at everything I would lose. But if I go back to Jimmy, what kind of world would I have? I feel lost at this point in my life. My cell rings and I see Jimmy's face. I slide my finger across the screen and put the phone to my ear. Hey babe, I answer. I know he is there, but he has not said anything yet. I heard him release his breath, and he spoke in that voice that made me feel butterflies back in high school. Krystal baby, I need you to come home. Gage is at my mom's for the night. We have to talk. He sounds like he knows. I was scared of this, but it was time to face the music. Okay, I will be home soon, okay? I tap the end button, put my phone in the cup holder, and dig out my keys. I start my car and look at Eddie's one more time. In the front window stands Eddie. He is just looking at me. He nods his head at me like he knows what I have decided, and tells me it is okay. The tears fall. I love Eddie. I will always love Eddie, but I think I have to do this. I have to work things out with Jimmy, or at least try. One last look and I mouth the words, "I love you." He mouths the words back. I put my car in drive and pulled away from the curb.
Jimmy.
When I woke up, Krystal was gone. I am no fool. I know she went to Eddie's. I cannot compete with Eddie. I have never been able to. How I ended up with Krystal will always make me wonder. I know that it is time to talk. I sent Gage to my mother's earlier. I was thinking Krystal and I would spend some time together. We did spend a little time. We put a movie in. She sat on one side of the sofa and me on the other, and I fell asleep like a big dummy. When I woke up, she was gone. There was a note saying she left to get coffee. I just bought coffee this morning, so I know we have plenty. It is okay, I thought. I love my wife, and I will fight like anything to keep my family together, like we are meant to be. If she is coming from Eddie's, I have about 15 minutes to get everything right. It is time to put my plan in motion. It is fight or flight. I plan to fight. I just hope Krystal will fight with me.
Krystal.
I look at my house from the outside. Gage's toys are in the yard. Jimmy's truck is in the driveway. The flowers I planted surrounded the front of the house. My eyes stop at the front door. Jimmy is standing there. Dark skinny jeans, white tank top, and bare feet. His black hair is just rolled out of bed style, which looks so good on him, and his light green eyes are on me. How can I love two men? I know I love Eddie. I have loved Eddie for many years, but Jimmy grabs my heart in a different way. I love him too. It is time to face the music. I get out of my car and walk to the front door, where Jimmy is now holding the door open for me. I do not deserve this man. "Hi," I say meekly once I reach the door. I feel like we are strangers. I do not know if I should hug him, kiss him, or throw myself at his feet and ask for forgiveness. He knows that my mind is moving 1,000 miles a minute, because he grabs my chin and brings my head up so that we can look into each other's eyes. He says, "Stop it, Krystal. Whatever happened, it does not matter anymore. We will figure it out together. Do you understand me?" The tears that had been restrained could no longer be stopped. Jimmy picks me up and carries me across the threshold. He walks me into the house and places me on the sofa. He just lets me cry. I look up and look into Jimmy's eyes. I am about to tell him how sorry I am and then tell him everything, but he stops my words by bringing his lips to mine. I feel the kiss everywhere. It is deep and it is mixed with emotion, hurt, love, and fear. I know I made him feel all of this. I let him control the kiss. When he breaks the kiss, his eyes meet mine and they are glittering. I can see the longing in his soul. It is not a longing for me alone, but for my heart. I let him speak, and I wanted to hear what he had to say. "You are so beautiful. I know what happened, Krystal. I do not want the details. I know all I need to know. Details make no difference now. What matters is that you are here now. This is where I would like you to stay. I meant every word of our vows when we married. I meant them then, and I mean them now. You have my heart and my soul. I do not want them back, and I do not ever want anyone but you to have them. The only question now is, can we work through this? Me and you. Can we forgive and move on, or do you want to be with Eddie?" Okay, so that was 2 questions, but I need those answers and those answers alone. Just as my tears dried up, the waterworks began again. I wish I could have taken away the pain I have caused. "Jimmy, I am so sorry. He puts a finger to my lips. No, Krystal, do not go there. Just tell me what I need to know, babe. That is all I need. Jimmy, we will get through this. I promise. I will do whatever you need or want to make this right. That is all I get out before Jimmy's mouth is on mine again. I feel his strength as well as his fight. After what I did, he is going to fight for me. What followed needed no words, only the quiet dark and each other. I do not think we have had a night like that in such a long time. It was as if we were on our honeymoon again.
Jimmy.
After we have just had the most meaningful night we have had in a long time, I propped myself up on my forearms and stared deep into her eyes. Babe, we are going to get through it. I forgive you. I forgive us. I do not want you to tell me about you and Eddie. I do not want to talk about it, or listen to it. I mean what I said before. We are not going to talk about it, or think about it. It ends here. She kisses me softly as I sit up. She looks amazing, I think to myself. Jimmy, we have to talk about it, she said softly. I do not want it to eat at you years down the road. If we are going to make this work, you have to know what happened. I shake my head back and forth. I am not ready for this conversation. To me, it happened. I cannot change that. I see no point in dwelling on it at all, but she obviously feels like she has to continue. So I will let her for a moment. I am not going to let it eat at me years from now, because years from now I will have long forgotten Eddie. That is the only thing I ask, is that you cut him out. I know that it will be hard because the two of you have been in each other's lives for years. But I know this much, Krystal. We will not be able to forget it if he is in our life every day for everything. Is that too much to ask of you, Krystal? I need her to understand that if he is not seen or heard, it will be easier to just forget about what happened. Deep down we will both know it happened, but Eddie's presence will not be a constant reminder. It is not, Jimmy. I had already decided that I was walking away from him. I love you and Gage, and I want my family with my boys. You and Gage are the two most important men in my life. You and Gage are what would be hard to give up. Would you sit with me while I call Eddie? You know how hard-headed he is. He will think there is hope until I tell him otherwise. I feel I owe that to us and him. I start biting on my cheek. I do this when I am not quite sure about something, but I guess I may have to do this one last thing, to let this guy enter our lives one last time. At least it is a phone call and not in person. So I tell her, I love you, Krystal Alexander. Now let us make this call, so that we can relax and enjoy the quiet before Gage gets home. We have all night, just you and me. So I plan on making every moment count. I grin at her slyly. I love this woman so much. Yes, it hurts deeply to know that another man was in her life. It pains me to know that he was there once, but I was there first. I put a ring on her finger, not him. I gave her a house, and she turned it into a home. I gave her my heart, and she gave me a son. Everything I have given that woman, she has managed to turn into something great. I know this has had to have eaten her up inside. I know how she feels or felt about him, but I also know how she feels about me. You do not marry a man, make a home with him, give him a son, and do all that she has done out of just liking a person. I know that sounds old school. She had dreams of moving away from here, and I know that one day I will make her dreams come true. I know she is quite capable of doing this for herself. She is a strong woman. She is the strongest woman I know, but she chose to put what she wanted aside to make sure she could spend some time with Gage while he was little. We are young, so we have the rest of our lives ahead of us. She smiles at me and says, I think that is the best plan ever. I do not think we have had the chance to do that just yet. Her smile is full of warmth. I can see her love for me in her eyes. Thank you for being with me through all of this, through loving me despite my mistakes. I know you may not want to hear this, but I hate to hurt Eddie. I wish this would never have happened. I wish I had met you first. I cannot take this anymore, so before she can say another word, I crush her lips beneath mine. It is the nicest way I can think of to tell her to stop. When I come up for air, I tell her, "No more, my love. Let us go ahead and make that call, get it over with, and move on with the rest of our lives."
Krystal.
It has been close to a month since Jimmy and I had that amazing night together. We still spend quality time together anytime we get the chance, which seems to be a lot more than before. I went to the doctor today and found out that I had been expecting, but I suffered from what they call a missed miscarriage. I did not even know I lost a baby. Is it okay that not realizing I lost my child makes me feel terrible? How do you miss a miscarriage? You do not just not know you lose a child. On top of that, I got the paper this morning. Eddie has his own little part in the paper. I thought the article that the girl wanted to do was about his one-man show. Turns out it started that way, but ended with it being about how today's alpha male has finally grown up, and how high-maintenance females are not worth it. What I want to know is how on earth he would know. Where does he get the right to say anything like that? It was he who lied about having cancer to be with someone. He used fake cancer to have his feelings known, when all he had to do was be a man and come out and say how he felt. It is not my fault he was a coward that decided he had to lie to get what he wanted. My fault lies in believing him. Jimmy and I are lounging in the front room, waiting for the news to come on. We are thinking of doing something with Gage tomorrow, but we want to see what the weather is going to be like. When I feel Jimmy go tense, I look up at him, and his eyes are on the television. When I look at the television, I know why. Eddie is on the news. It is all about his story from the paper, but with some nonsense about a self-centered female he had in his life who requires constant attention and loves drama. He also says that this female does not love 100% like a man deserves to be loved. I think to myself how he needs someone to set him straight to stop that nonsense coming from his mouth, but I do have to say this much. He is moving on. We needed for him to be able to move on, so that I could move on with my life with Jimmy. I look back at Jimmy after I turn the television off. Jimmy, is anything he said right about me? Do I love you enough? Are you happy? He looks down at me and says, "Nothing he said remotely sounded like you at all, baby. I am not saying that just because I love you. You are a loving and caring woman, Krystal Alexander. You show me love every single day. Forget Eddie, Krystal. If he would have been smart or even a real man, he would have fought me for you. He would not have backed down or rolled over like the coward he is. I will never stop fighting for you. I love you and you love me." End of story. Now let us see if we can catch what the weather is going to be like. How did that man go from ranting about someone he dislikes to worrying about the weather? Either way, I kiss Jimmy. The man has put up with so much from me. I have no idea how I have not lost him by now. But the question remains, is it fair of me to stay with him if I do not feel the same? I love him dearly. Do not get me wrong. I always will, but we have no spark. Can you make a marriage work with no spark?
Eddie.
I decided that I wanted to get Lydia something that was just for me. Yes, I said just for me. At the start, I thought she was just a casual fling, but she was right. She rocked my world that night and every night since. I really like her. I do not know if I would use the other L word, as you can remember what happened the last 2 times I said it. It did not work out so well for me. The last girl I said that word took my heart and shattered it with a sledgehammer. But things happen, right? It is time to pull up my big boy pants and move on. Krystal did not have one problem doing it. I shake my head to clear it. I am not wasting any more of my time thinking about things I cannot have. Instead, I am going to fill my mind with what Lydia will look like in this black and crimson outfit I picked out for her. I decided I am going to get the black and red one as well as the bright pink one. I needed to get out of this store and back to Lydia about 20 minutes ago. I check out and decide to stop for lunch in the mall before I head out. Lydia does not get off for another hour and a half, so I have time to pass. Standing in line waiting to order my food, my thoughts lead back to the first night we spent time together. That was a good night. She got all of the questions she needed, then it was go time. Once her questions turned silly, I knew I would not last. From that moment on, we just clicked. We connected like we had known each other for years. Someone snapping their fingers in my face brings me back to the here and now. Leave it to me to get distracted in a fast food joint. I look at the guy to my left who is snapping his fingers at me, apologize for being out of it, and step forward to place my order. I got a grilled chicken salad and a bottle of water. I walk toward the back of the place. That way, if I space out again, no one will notice. I sat down and looked to my right. Just my luck. To my right, with her nose in a book, is none other than Krystal. All I can do is stare. I do not get up to leave. I do not call her name. I just stare at her until she finally looks over at me. She does a double take, and then our eyes are locked on the other. How long did we sit just staring at each other? I have no idea. I could have gotten hit by a bus and still, I think my eyes would have stayed on her. She looks almost the same. She has small bags under her eyes where she is not getting enough sleep, and she has lost weight. I hear her breathe my name as her eyes fill with tears. I cannot see this. No, I refuse to sit and talk with her if she is going to try and draw me back in. So I go all in and let it all out. Oh, you know who I am now, do you? The day you stood outside my apartment, you did not know who I was. When you got into Jen's car and drove away, or how about when you came back? Instead of coming to me, you got in your car and went to Jimmy. Did you know me then, Krystal? Words just spewed from my mouth, dripping with false bitterness. I do not think I could ever truly resent her. I ask all this before she gets a chance to say anything. She opens her mouth like she is about to speak, and her tears are now sliding down her cheeks. However, at this point now, I find myself unable to care that she is crying. I put my hand up to stop her, and began speaking again. No, you do not get to speak. I do not need your words, Krystal. I have all the actions from you. Dry your tears because they will not work this time. I am happy. I am happy with Lydia. I like that she does not hold my past against me. Yes, if you must know, I told her everything. I figured it was best to tell her myself rather than you or Jen, sullying it up with your drama. Lydia is free and wild, and she makes me happy. Just last night, we had an incredible time together, and it was amazing. Never in my life have I had that kind of connection with a woman. Lydia knows me, and she understands me. Then, the look I have been waiting to see for a while now flashes in her eyes. Finally, I make her jealous. I am not done yet. I keep ranting. That is right, Krystal. Someone other than you gets me. The only difference is that she chooses me. I do not wait for her to speak. I do not care what she has to say. I leave my food where it is, grab my bags, and walk out. I hear her say my name before I am all the way out of the store. Once outside, I stand there and breathe deeply, open my eyes, and look around. I look at the window where Krystal and I were sitting, and she is still there with her head in her hands. I almost went back in there, but decided against it. I cannot take another heartbreak when she runs back to Jimmy.
Jimmy.
I know that something is wrong with Krystal. She has not been the same since she came back from the mall. Her eyes were red and puffy. She said she read a book while she was gone, and it just got to her. Then she asked me if I had a wish. What kind of wish? I asked her. Like a romantic one. You know, I have never really thought about it. You have always been exactly what I have needed, so I do not need to think about anything else. She said she had one, and asked if she could share it with me. I agree, and she asks if I would be willing to make her wish come true with her. I told her that I would as long as no one else was involved. Her wish turns out to be something that most high school kids do before or on prom night. Since we did not take our chance then, I agreed. I figured it was the most harmless wish I have heard about in a long time. We would have my mother watch Gage, and we are going to spend time alone in the car, just the two of us. So I guess I do have a wish, I tell her. I am really looking forward to doing this. I think it will give us something back. I know Krystal is trying to give it her all, and I am hoping that after tomorrow night, things will be better with us. I am not so sure it was a book that had her crying either, but I cannot know for sure unless she tells me. The only thing she tells me is to never read a book that says it has no happy ever after. I do not even know what that stands for, but I will take her word for it. I guess I will have to take her word for it.
Krystal.
Tonight is the night. My husband and I are going to make one of our wishes a reality. I am still hurt from Eddie yesterday. I cannot believe he told me all that. Then he would not even let me speak. I wanted to tell him that I was sorry and that I wanted my friend back. I thought I needed Eddie back in my life. I am certain I do. Even before we realized how we felt for one another, we were friends. I would have liked to have that part back. But he just blew me off like I was nothing to him. I suppose that is my official sign that we are no longer friends. We just dropped Gage off with Jimmy's mom, and it is time for our night. I do not know why I am nervous all of a sudden. Jimmy is driving to the point, which is just a cliff that overlooks the city. I have no idea why people want to spend time together on a cliff. However, I am hoping to find out tonight. We are in a small Honda. I have no idea how this is going to work, but I have always wanted to experience this, and tonight I will. Part of me feels like I should have been more creative with my wish, but my relationship with Jimmy is pretty simple. He pulls the car to a stop, turns the car and the lights off but leaves the radio on. I look back between him and the radio and back at him. All he says is when he pictures this happening, it is with a soundtrack. One side of his mouth pulls up into a half smile as he puts his arm over my seat. He leans into me and whispers softly. I cannot get my thoughts to cease long enough for me to truly get into this, but I have to keep trying. After all, this was my idea. I lean closer to him and put my hand on his arm. I pull back from Jimmy and ask him if he is feeling this. He shrugs his shoulders and says he wishes it was at home, but as long as he is with me, he will get there. Hear You Me by Jimmy Eat World is now playing, and it does not help my mood at all. I look at Jimmy and tell him we should just go home. This is not working like I wanted it to, and for some reason I am just not in the mood. I know he is trying to read me and get a feel of what is in my head, but it will not work. I have become really good at keeping people out of my head. I know what I have to do now. I sat in the chair next to the bed and watched Jimmy sleep. He looks so peaceful. I cannot do this to Jimmy anymore. He deserves to be with someone who will love him with everything they have. With all of their heart, their relationship should be filled with love and devotion. I love Jimmy, but I am not in love with him. We have lost our spark somewhere along the way. I place the letter I wrote to Jimmy on the table beside the bed, grab my suitcase and walk out of the room. I look back just long enough to see Jimmy roll from his side to his stomach, as he leaves his arm hanging off the side of the bed. Then I close the door behind me and pray that Jimmy will not resent me like Eddie does.
Krystal. Jimmy's letter.
Jimmy. I know that at first you will not understand, but in time you will. I love you, Jimmy, I honestly do, but I am not in love with you anymore. I do not know what has happened. I do know that you and I cannot fix it together. I want you to find someone that makes you happy. Someone you cannot wait to get off work to come home to, someone who feels the same excitement as you do. You deserve so much better than me. If you do as I say, the man you were in school is the man you can be now. Your smile will be brighter, fuller, and have more meaning. Please do not resent me, Jimmy. I want you to be happy, but we cannot be happy together because I am just not happy within myself. I know that at some point you will see that this is about me and I am being selfish, I guess, but I do not want to hold you back while I try to figure out who I am and what I need and want. We will figure something out with Gage. I left him in bed, since I am leaving while you guys sleep. I will come back in 2 days, and you and I will sit and talk about what is best for Gage. He is our son, and he should be able to have us anytime he wants. I am not worried about that, because I know you would never hold Gage over me just because we did not make it. I want us to stay close, Jimmy. I know I am being selfish, and I am sorry. If you cannot be in my life other than just for Gage, I can understand that. Please forgive me, Jimmy. I love you. Krystal.
Chapter 4. Eddie.
So, Eddie, tell us, the reporter said as she shoved the tape recorder in my face. Have you heard anything from this Krystal, of whom you speak of so much in your performance? What does she say about all of this? Do you think she still has feelings for you? What about your last fling? Eddie, your fans want to know. Her rapid-fire succession of questions overwhelmed me. I felt my fight-or-flight response kick in, but I was definitely not running. I felt my face flush with anger. I clenched my hands, but I did not swing. I did not need to be angry. I was about to go on for the second showing. I should be used to this line of questioning by now. For the past year, since I last saw Krystal and said those awful things to her, I have fielded those questions from reporters, fans, and just random people in general. I have grown up a lot in the past couple of years. I am no longer that sad little boy who has lied to those he loved, hurt those he cared deeply for, and used people just to get to an end result. Yes, I have done that plenty of times. But now, I have been focusing on my act. I may be young, but I have plenty of stories to tell. I have to say, I have made quite a success from my little act. I did not expect it to go this far, but it has. It has actually gone far beyond what I truly envisioned becoming reality. Sure, who does not hope to be the next big thing? Everyone does at some point or another, but here I was living my dream. If only Krystal could have seen me now. Despite those last words I said to her, I have still carried a torch for her, though it has not been as strong as it once was. No comment. I was used to giving the all-encompassing diplomatic response of no comment to pretty much every question that irritated me, or any journalist that got on my nerves. It was an unspoken thing that most journalists knew. I would not give impromptu interviews. You called my publicist and set things up through him and my personal assistant. All other inquiries were given the cold shoulder. Ah, come on, Eddie. It is just a simple question. What are you afraid of? A tell-all book. I shot a look of pure contempt directly at her. I made certain to make eye contact so she would know it was truly meant for her. I do not know how this woman got into this event with her press pass. She must be new, I thought to myself as I relaxed my posture and softened my gaze. Miss Newman. It is Miss Newman. I am with the Screen Actors Guild Press in Los Angeles, California. We have heard about you and would be interested in doing a piece on you. Well, Miss Newman, I said, not wanting to continue to be rude. I was over being a jerk just to be one, you know. All interviews are scheduled through my personal assistant and publicist. You see, if I stopped to talk to each and every journalist, I would never make my own show on time or at all, making there nothing to report on. So, if you will excuse me, I am expected to be on stage in roughly 5 minutes. If I am not there when the curtain rises, I am certain you will have a difficult time explaining it to the ticket holders why I am not there. If you have no other questions with which to detain me further, excuse me. I was proud of that declination toward a journalist. She was not exactly the brightest bulb in the box, and she was very new. Most editors warned their journalists that attended the show to avoid asking direct questions. They were often instructed to report solely on the performance itself. It was curtain time. I gazed out across the audience and saw the usual faces. Many came to not just one show, but 2 or 3 in a week. However, one face stuck out in the crowd. I gasped. Was that? No, it could not be, could it? I shook it off, but it just would not let go. The lights dimmed, and finally, I was able to see out among the sea of faces. It was her. It was Krystal.
Krystal.
This past year has been a really rough year. Leaving Jimmy was hard, but the hardest thing was leaving Gage behind at first. Even harder than that was the fact that I had to go back to sit with Jimmy and discuss who would have Gage and when. I knew that Jimmy worked most days. Being out on my own for the first time in my life meant that I had to work, but my availability was still determined by Jimmy, Gage, and his parents. My parents were still not talking to me, beyond what they had to say for Gage's benefit. I am pretty much friendless and familyless at this point, but it has been a good learning experience. I have come to realize that I have taken so much for granted with Jimmy, including Jimmy himself. I just could not see myself staying with Jimmy, knowing that I did not love him the way I should have. It just was not right. I mean, why should I lead him on that way? Why should I lie next to him night after night, letting him think I am nearly hopelessly devoted to him, and love him as a wife should love her husband? That just is not right. My family does not quite understand the concept. My parents hate each other, yet remained married for the kids. That just did not cut it, you know? I hated it most when my parents fought. I recall many nights in bed listening to them arguing about something, doors slamming, my dad calling my mom horrible names, and my mom coming back with some horrible insults of her own. Is that what I am supposed to do to Gage? Now, I do not think I foresee Jimmy calling me the kind of names my dad called my mom, but that does not mean that eventually we will not stay up late at night fighting with each other while Gage is in his room with a pillow over his head trying to muffle the sounds. So I did it. I came once again to watch one of Eddie's shows. I hope he really does not see me this time. I just feel that this particular chapter of my life is not quite closed, you know? For a long time, Eddie was my best friend. Jimmy was the guy they first was going to marry, and Jen was a really good female friend to have. That was my life. When did all of this get so complicated? As I sat there, I could see his silhouette against the curtain. There was a small amount of light, but not a lot. He looked so happy but slightly worn. I could see that living his dream was wearing on him, despite the smile I knew he was wearing on his face. Being in the limelight must be hard. At least, he had Lydia. It was good that he had someone. I was alone, but I needed it to be that way for now. I had to figure out who I was. Still, looking into his eyes, it felt like I was home. Eddie was my home base. Everything has changed. Okay, I thought to myself. I am going to go up there, congratulate him on his success, and leave. That is it. Just say hi. The curtain rises, and the spotlights hit their mark. Suddenly, he does not look as worn as I first thought. He looked almost exactly like he did the first time we were together. There was a light in his eyes, but there seemed to be a slight sadness etched on his face. I saw him look out onto the crowd, and then he spoke. Ladies and gentlemen, it seems we have a guest. As you know, much of my act involves love, loss, and finding oneself. Well, this wonderful woman right there is the source of my search, and the one who encouraged me to find myself the most. Give a warm welcome to Krystal. Cheers, and the sound of clapping erupted. I clapped too, until I realized that he mentioned my name. Oh my goodness, he was pointing to me. I am going to melt from embarrassment. I could feel my face turning crimson. It suddenly got hot in the room, but I knew that was just me. The crowd finally dies down. Eddie explains to the audience what I have meant to him. It was odd hearing this, considering the last time he saw me, he said some very unkind things to me. While the show was going on, I felt a tapping on my shoulder. Yes? I said. Miss Krystal? Yes, that is me. Eddie has asked me to request that you meet him at his dressing room after the show. Now, I was not quite certain how I should respond. I really did not come here to actually see Eddie, but I suppose in a way that I really did. Sure, I will be there. Krystal, will you not say a few words to the audience? I heard Eddie ask. Wow, I cannot believe he called me out like that. Well, yes, I can. It is typical Eddie. He was always showboating as a teen. I do not know why I thought this would be any different. So I told them a few things I am certain he has already divulged, but added at the end, I would rather talk to you in private about anything else though. I looked directly at him. The show continued, and eventually ended. I was directed away from the crowd, and into Eddie's dressing room. He was not there at first, so I looked around. I was astonished at what I found. Taped to his mirror was a picture of us smiling in one of those carnival booths. It was the only sincere picture we took that night. I have the goofy one. I remember that night as if it were yesterday. The carnival lights were bright and loud. The smell of corn dogs and funnel cakes wafted through the air as the merriment of the carnival goers could be heard, but that night, Eddie sealed his fate as my best friend. It was sophomore year, and Jimmy and I had broken up for the umpteenth time. He is so boring, I said. He never wants to do anything except work, watch television, and fish. I am just not that kind of girl. I need action, adventure. Spark? Eddie finished my sentence. Yes. I mean, look at our friendship. We are just friends and we have way more fun. A relationship should be like this, but more, you know? The memory faded as I recalled those words to Eddie. If only I had known that his lingering looks at me were not just him being extra attentive because I needed a friend, perhaps things would have been different. I heard the screams of his fans draw closer to the door of the dressing room. The doorknob turned. Finally, he came in. Krystal, he said. He just stared at me. I could not help but stare back. I needed him like a fish needed water, but I could not handle the lies. Whether we would have ever ended up together or not, best friends were not supposed to lie to each other. Have I managed to forgive him yet? I am glad you made it, though I was not expecting you at all. He said. What brings you to the club? How is life? How is Gage? That is your son's name, right? Gage? How is Jimmy? Your folks? He shot what felt like a million questions in my direction. Whoa, Eddie. Let me answer questions 1 through 10 before firing off 11 through 20, okay? I chuckled in amusement. Sorry, Krystal. It is just that I am surprised and excited to see you. So, what all has been going on in your life? He seemed oddly interested in someone who was in a relationship. I sure hope this is not one of his stupid pranks, but I figured it would be rude of me to avoid answering. Still, I was not certain how to answer him. Do I just come out and say it, or do I just give the basics, weather, and so on? Here it goes. Well, everyone is doing well, I suppose. I live closer to town now. Work is okay. Some of the customers. Wait, what? He interrupted. Work? Is Jimmy not getting hours? Oh no, I went too far. No, Eddie. Jimmy gets all of the hours he wants. I inhaled sharply. I left him. I realized after we last saw each other that it was not a you or Jimmy thing. It was the fact that I realized that I only loved the fact that Jimmy was the stability my parents always told me I was supposed to want as an adult. Something clicked when you told me off. I realized that it was unfair of me to remain with Jimmy. I did not love him the way a wife should have. If I did, I would not have made the decisions I made. Yeah, I am sorry about that, yelling at you, I mean. I had no right to do so. I was the one who made the bad call. I was the one who lied and betrayed our friendship. He paused. Krystal, I am sorry about Jimmy. He placed his hand on my shoulder. He was so close. I could smell the scent of his cologne. If there is anything I can do, let me know. Would you like to go for some coffee? Maybe we can catch up. That would be great, I said.
Jimmy.
This past year has been so difficult without her. I have no idea what is going on in her head, but I love her so much. I know it has something to do with Eddie, but that is something she will not tell me. If only she would talk to me, then maybe we could figure it all out. If she truly did not love me, then I suppose I could accept it with more humility. She never said a word. I have tried to be understanding. I have tried to be there. I have done all that she has asked me to do. I simply do not understand. However, Gage has gotten so big this past year. He is my little buddy. When I am outside in the yard on weekends, he is with me. He likes to think he is helping me while I work on the truck or take care of the yard. For a little boy that is almost 3 years old, he is quite intelligent. I can ask for a 3/4-inch wrench, and he always gives me the right one. I read to him every night he is with me. As I think back on everything we have been through, from the time we dated in high school to the time I asked her to marry me to last year's events, I suppose I can see where she might have trouble figuring things out. I just hate that our son is now involved in this mess. I love my son. I really thought that after she had Gage, she would alter her perceptions a little. I hate to sound backward, but I thought she would settle down. Do not get me wrong. I love her spark. I love that she is so passionate about things. She is the antithesis of my personality. She keeps me alive. When I am with her, I feel like I am connected to this world, to our son, and to the others in the community. Most people simply do not get me. I like people, but it is so much easier to simply be alone. I can fix a truck. I cannot always fix a person, and that bothers me a lot. I hate to see people hurting. I suppose that is why I have let Krystal get away with so much, more than most men would take from their wives. I mean, most men, upon hearing their wife was unfaithful, would immediately file for divorce and call their wives all sorts of terrible names. Not me. My wife was taken advantage of, and her emotions were played with by a scheming con artist. Still, this year has been difficult. It would seem that our little group from high school has been completely torn apart, Eddie, Jen, Krystal, and myself. Many people fail to realize just how much real life changes after high school. We are only children for such a short time in our lives. What is strange is that during that time, rather than being patient, we were in a hurry to grow up. Why? It seems that aside from typical childish drama from high school, we all have much more complicated lives as adults. At least, I know my life is more complicated as an adult. Here I am, almost 25 years old. My heart resides with a woman who wanted another man, but now has no clue what she wants. This world is broken to me, but I just do not know how to fix it.
Krystal.
I inhaled deeply as I prepared to tell Eddie my story, about that night I left Jimmy, how I felt after we last saw each other, and what this past year has been for me. But first, we needed to go somewhere that we could talk without hundreds of screaming and adoring fans shouting his name right outside of the door. Eddie, I asked, can we go somewhere a little more private? Sure. I will have my car brought around. Where do you want to go? Well, we could go to my place if you want. I almost regretted those words out of fear of what our last encounters in a private setting have been, but we have had the same type of encounters in not-so-private settings as well. So who cared? I think that would be okay. It seems you have a lot on your mind, and I can see how that works, he said as he pointed to the door separating us and the screaming crowd of people. It can be distracting. So where is this new place of yours? I turned toward the door, preparing to exit through the sea of faces on the other side. Eddie follows behind me, but something suddenly feels at home, as he places his hand lightly on the small of my back. He has never made that gesture before. That was something Jimmy always did as a way to guide me or show me he was there to support me no matter what, or at least that is how he explained it when I asked. Still, it just felt right. We make our way through the crowd relatively unscathed. Outside, Eddie's Chevrolet Suburban is waiting outside. He has a driver, I think to myself. Wow. He and I get in, and I give the driver directions to my home. The ride there was cloaked in a heavy silence. It felt like wool on my skin. I itched to say the first word, but fear gripped me by my throat. I struggled to catch my breath. Suddenly, I was cold and hot all at the same time, racked with anticipation and partial guilt. I was feeling guilty, because every other time I was alone with Eddie, we gave in to our feelings. Somehow, logic and reason were tossed out of the window, and I acted like someone with no self-control. That was not my nature, was it? I did not know anymore. I no longer had a clue who I was inside. I no longer knew anything about myself, and that unnerved me greatly. Finally, my home came into view. My stomach was all twisty, filled with butterflies. My nerves were a wreck. What was I doing inviting him over to my house? Seriously? Goodness, I am such an idiot sometimes. Beautiful place you have here, Eddie said. It was not a bad place. It was one of those modular homes. It had 2 bedrooms, one for me and one for when I had Gage, and 2 bathrooms. We were working on potty training with Gage, and it got a little messy sometimes. Thanks, I said as I slid my key into the knob to open it up. It is a decent place. I have neighbors who pretty much leave me alone. That is always good to have your privacy respected. Sometimes I almost forget what that is like, but it is the price you pay for success in the public eye, I suppose. Yeah. Eddie, I am really proud of you. You have done it. You have made your dreams come true. And what about you? He asked, closing the gap between us. Are you successful? Eddie, you know the answer to that. I was almost offended by his question, but he looked like he had more to say, so I gave him a chance. Chris, you know how I feel about success. I do not think money makes one successful. You know it is all about happiness. So Krystal, I ask again, are you successful? I knew he was going somewhere philosophical with this. To most people it was annoying, but I found it rather endearing. Will you not sit down? I asked him. Do you want anything to eat or drink? No, thank you. So Krystal, tell me what happened. Last I knew, you had chosen Jimmy and went home to him. How much time do you have? I asked, slightly teasing. However long you need to talk. His eyes showed someone who had aged well into his years. Wisdom had obviously decided to pay him a visit since we last saw each other. At first I did. See, I was on the way to your house. At that point, I was not certain who I was going to choose. I knew I had Gage, so whatever I decided would have to be carried out carefully. As I was getting out of my car, Jen cut me off at the pass. That woman! Eddie exclaimed. I looked at him with a confused expression but continued. She came up to me and asked me to take a ride with her. I was hesitant at first. Then, I realized that what we did was not your fault entirely. I was an active participant. So I let her speak her mind and went with her. She asked only that I listen first completely before speaking. She told me that what we did was wrong and selfish. She asked about our morals. She also asked me to put the proverbial shoe on the other foot by imagining if it had been her and Jimmy together. Chris, I am so sorry. Eddie said, but I put up my hand and said, wait. I am not quite done. You see, she also brought Gage into it. She made it sound like I was leaving my son behind for a fleeting affair, as she called it, and asked me which life would give me the most long-term happiness. I knew that you were my best friend, Eddie, but I was not sure where we were heading. I did not want to be just someone disposable to you. You really thought that? I did not know, and it was the not knowing part that scared me more than what she had to say. I mean, you did lie to me about the whole cancer thing. How was I supposed to know that there was merit to what you were saying? It was a difficult time, you know. Anyway, she and I talked for quite a bit. She even asked me to pray with her. Seriously? Yeah. After that, I just could not think about anything else except going home. I saw you walk back to your car, not even coming to the door to tell me goodbye. I am sorry I was such a fool in the fast food place that night. Had I known that Jen had her hands on this, I would have never assumed it was entirely your fault. You had every right to do so, Eddie. You saw what you saw. I could have, probably should have, come up to the door, but I would have lost my resolve as I had done so numerous times around you. Still, Jimmy and I did not last very long. I looked at my feet. I was kind of ashamed of how it all turned out. This was definitely not how I saw my life as an adult. Krystal, you were following your heart. That is all I have ever wanted, and it was for you to be happy. I guess I just got a little heated when I realized it was not with me. The story does not end there, Eddie.
Eddie.
I cannot believe I was such a terrible person to Krystal. Had I simmered down long enough to listen, maybe she would still be mine. I liked Lydia a lot. She was more spontaneous and carefree than Krystal ever was, but it was not the same. Listening to what her life has been like over the past year has shown me that while I have done a good bit of growing up, I still had a lot to do. It seemed that she was a great mom. She was willing to put aside everything for the sake of her son, but something told me her story was not over, aside from her actually telling me. Eddie, I ended it with Jimmy last year, not long after you and I saw each other at the restaurant. It was hard, but I had to do it. I could no longer live a lie. Oh goodness. I am so sorry, Krystal. I placed my hand gently on hers. I wanted to convey the sympathy I felt inside. I just did not feel words would do it justice. All of my friends, his friends, and both of our families blamed me. They said I was selfish and narcissistic for leaving Jimmy as I did, that a marriage that was cracked was not broken. You were not supposed to just throw a marriage away. I cannot say that I agreed with them, though. I thought I was sparing him the hurt of lying next to a woman every night who did not love him the way a wife usually loves her husband. I thought I was saving him. You were, Krystal. You were. Do you remember Tommy from high school? Yeah. Well, his parents stayed together for the sake of the kids, but Tommy used to tell me all the time how miserable all of them were. Every night they would fuss, fight, and argue. Every night, Tommy and his brothers would end up not getting sleep. So see, you actually have spared not only Jimmy from the hurt and pain of a miserable marriage, but you have also spared Gage from growing up like that. And what if he or you had cheated on each other? If he had cheated on you, and maybe gotten someone else pregnant? True. I understand what you are saying. I do feel bad for hurting him. The last thing I wanted to do was to hurt anybody at all, you, him, Gage, or myself. Well, if it helps, Lydia ditched me. Lydia. Oh, I was not sure if you knew about her. I knew you were seeing someone. You made sure to tell me on several occasions. I just did not know her name. I sheepishly ran my fingers through my hair. I was certainly embarrassed about my treatment of Krystal over the past couple of years. I cannot believe that I have treated someone I am supposed to have loved in such a horrendous manner. Well, I said to her. Looks like we are both single now. Yeah. I thought back to a journal entry I wrote so long ago. Krystal has always been beautiful to me. From the day I laid my eyes on her, she took my breath away. I knew I loved her from day one. I transferred to Piedmont High during my freshman year. She befriended me right away. It is the love I feel for her that has me making my plans. One way or another, Krystal will be mine. Krystal, I say. Come with me. Where? Let us go to New Orleans. New Orleans? Why there? You need to get away, and frankly, I need to be with you. I want to make up for my cruelty. But Eddie, she says, I have to work. What if I could arrange it to where nothing here suffered? I only ask for 2 weeks of your time. Certainly, you can take 2 weeks off. Better yet, let me make some calls.
Jimmy.
I just got a phone call from some guy who says he is Eddie's personal assistant. He is asking if it is okay that Krystal misses her visit with Gage. Really? Miss a visit with Gage? It is not like she is just visiting with Gage. We have an arrangement. I knew she would pull this stunt. Anytime Eddie is involved, something goes wrong with Gage's life and mine. I wish I had confronted him that night. All I knew right now was that my temper flared. I am not normally an angry person, but I certainly felt like losing my temper the more I thought about his involvement in our lives. He certainly better hope I do not see him in public. I might have to confront him the way I should have before. I told the personal assistant, fine, she can go where she wants. I do not care. I shut the phone firmly. The truth was I did care. I was hoping to reconnect with my wife. I was hoping that she would come home. I was hoping she still wanted to be my wife, but I suppose not. It looked like I was going to have to make a life for myself alone. I could not see being with anyone else. I just do not understand it. If she did not love me, that is fine. I can deal with that. My problem is the fact she seems so willing and able to just move on so easily. I look at Gage. What is going to become of his life?
Krystal.
Eddie has just asked me to take off for 2 weeks with him to travel. Not only that, but he has also made arrangements for me to take off from work and change up the schedule a little with Gage. I do not know how he pulled it off with Jimmy. He has usually been pretty rigid in keeping to the exact same schedule. Then again, Jimmy has always been about his routine. Eddie, if you would like to stay the night here, that would be fine by me, I offered. On the couch, that is.
Eddie.
Well, it looks like I am sleeping on the couch for a while. He chuckled softly. At least I am sleeping on the couch tonight, that is. I am actually surprised that I am here. I never, in a million years, would have imagined that I would be with Krystal again. I know that I need to take it slow. Looking back, I see the problem she and I have had was that we let passion get the best of us. We let our bodies take the front seat to our emotions. That I can see was wrong. The next morning we got up. I made sure that my personal assistant had everything in place. First stop, New Orleans. New Orleans, Louisiana, home of Saints football, crawfish étouffée, gumbo, and Creole. As one of the most celebrated cities in the American South, it is the largest city in the state and the largest tourist attraction. It is also one of the oldest cities in the continental United States. New Orleans has had a magic and seduction to it I have never seen before. I am in love with the city. I have been dozens of times, but each visit is always new and exciting, like a breath of fresh air. Except this time, I have got a woman with me that I have pined over for years. I have got to take it slow with Krystal. She is vulnerable. She needs to know that it is safe and okay to move on. I applaud her for leaving Jimmy. It is not because I did not particularly care for the guy, or that I feel he stole my girl, but he just did not quite understand who Krystal was and is. He did not see that she was a free spirit. Her routine was all good, but she craved spontaneity. I have learned a lot lately as I have grown, but I know a man should encourage a woman's spirit, not insist she be something she is not. You are up early, she said to me, snapping me out of my thoughts. Yeah, I said as I stretched. I guess the anticipation of an impromptu road trip has me all Twitter-pated. You are still quoting Bambi? Sometimes. Sometimes I quote Cinderella and I see the shoe fits. She tossed a dish towel at me. It was good to feel like this again, playful, carefree, and fun. I have missed my best friend. When did things get so complicated between us? Breakfast is rather quiet. This was odd for her, but I figured she was working through her thoughts. I did kind of appear out of nowhere and asked her to travel with me a little. In my defense, we had discussed doing that at one point in our youth. As we loaded up the car, I decided to break the silence. Where do you want to go in New Orleans first, Chris? Honestly, Eddie, I really do not know. I have never been there. I cannot believe she has never been to New Orleans. Never? I ask. Never, she responded. I would not mind going, but I just never had the chance. More determined than ever, I replied, well, you are going to get to go now. Do you trust me? I realized my faux pas as soon as I uttered those words. Of course, she did not trust me. I was lucky she did not hate me after the stunt I pulled a few years back. I really did not like who I was at that time. There was no way on this planet that she would trust me this easily. Yes. Did my ears just play a prank on me? Did she really say yes to the question of trust? I was stunned. My heart dropped, but not in a bad way. I was absolutely floored. This was the best news I had gotten since my gig went big. Still, I could not let it show. Cool. In that case, I think I will have something nice planned for you by the time we get there.
Krystal.
As we arrived in New Orleans, I was amazed by the feel of the city. It was as if I were somehow magically transported into something that was not a part of this world. It seemed as if I were in another country altogether. We were dropped off at the tourist place. Eddie turned to me and told me not to worry. His personal assistant was handling our bags and checking us into the hotel tonight. The first place he took me was the Natchez riverboat cruise. The setup was beautiful. By the time we arrived in New Orleans, it was getting close to evening. Our cruise was set to begin right around dusk, which happened in the South pretty early during the off-season months, also known as winter. It was perfect. The way Eddie treated me and how he acted reminded me of the Eddie I knew before he lied. He was my best friend again, but I was still a little apprehensive. I started to think back and wonder. Since it was the first lie he really told me, was it okay that I wanted to truly forgive and forget? Was it okay that I just wanted to pretend that it never happened? We enjoyed the cruise and walked around Bourbon Street for a while. I chose to abstain from alcohol while we were out on Bourbon Street. I did not want to have that morning after regret. That night we slept in the hotel, but he would not sleep in the same room with me. Our hotel room had 2 double beds. This was different, but I found it refreshing. We needed to take things slow, to get to know each other for real this time. We needed to make sure we could be friends before lovers. I honestly think that was where I went wrong with Jimmy. He and I were not best friends. A good marriage is one in which you are married to a person who does not quite make you whole, but is your best friend. That person is to fill in the gaps so you fit like a puzzle. Eddie was that person for me. The next morning, Eddie checks us out of the hotel. He turns to me and says, "What do you think of visiting Yellowstone National Park and the Grand Canyon next?" Eddie, are you sure? I am astonished that he would suggest such a thing. These were major places to visit. I never thought I would get out of that small town, let alone get to see such a place. Yes, I am sure. I would not offer if I was not certain I wanted to go with you. What made you ask that? Well, honestly, these are major trips, Eddie. I have been due for a vacation for a while. So what if I want the prettiest girl in the world with me? Who cares? He smiled that half smile that always made my stomach do flips. Well, I guess I am okay with it then. I giggled. We drove for quite some time. New Orleans to the Grand Canyon was a long drive, but it was worth it. I have never seen so many beautiful scenes in one drive. Interstate 10 was a busy interstate. It had its moments. Sometimes, not a soul save for a few truckers were on the road. Other times, traffic on the freeway was stopped and gone. It was interesting to see the scenery go from the lush, dense swamps and greenery of Louisiana to the dry desert of Texas and the Southwest. We arrived at the Grand Canyon. Staring down at the river below made me realize how small and insignificant I was in relation to the world. I was so worried about people and things others thought, but really, all of that was absolutely nothing compared to what I was staring at right now. Yellowstone was the exact same way. It was awe-inspiring. Eddie decided that on the way back from the entire week, we would stop at a hotel in Oklahoma on our way back. I did not want the trip to end, but I just had to get home to see my son. I enjoyed the time with Eddie, but I did miss Gage.
Krystal.
The hotel was gorgeous. Eddie obviously spared no expense. The chandelier in the lobby seemed to dance on its own as the spotlights caressed the gold plating. It smelled like fresh lavender. The bellhop carried our luggage to our room. I hooked my arm into his elbow as we rode on the elevator. Just touching him felt great. We were shown our room. It was beautiful. It even had a fireplace. As soon as the bellhop left, Eddie turned to me and said, "Krystal, this entire trip has meant so much to me. It made me realize that I never stopped loving you. I know what I did was absolutely horrible. If I could go back, I would take it all back. I would be the man you needed me to be, and just be honest about my feelings. If I could, I would have never lied to you. If I could, I would take a trip back in time and talk some sense into the younger me. Can you forgive me?" Finally, the words I needed to hear came from him. He admitted his wrong. He did not try to justify it. He just admitted to it all. I was so happy. His hands were on my cheek in a sweet and gentle manner. He was so tender. I wonder what happened in the last couple of years that has changed him so much. It made me see how much this genuine emotional encounter was. I never had that with Jimmy. Sure, I cared for Jimmy a great deal, even fooled myself into thinking I loved him. Just then, Eddie's lips grazed mine. It was a long and sensual kiss. He pulled away long enough to say, "I am sorry. I have just been wanting to do that since I saw you in the club that night, Krystal." I stared up at him, love in my eyes, and grabbed his hand. I led him over to the fireplace, where we sat together, the warmth of the flames dancing across our skin. What followed needed no words, only the quiet dark and each other. We gave ourselves to the moment, losing the night in each other's arms. When I finally drifted off to sleep, nestled against him, I felt a peace I had not known in years. The love I felt emanating from him nearly brought tears to my eyes. I could not see life without anyone else. This is the love I have been searching for all of my life. As I closed my eyes, I could not wait until tomorrow morning when I awoke with him beside me.
Eddie.
That was amazing. This is exactly what I have missed. I cannot believe that we have just experienced such an amazing night. I lay there with my eyes closed but could not sleep. I was very happy. I know it is not exactly what people expect, but I was nearly in tears as I rested beside her. I do not want to screw this up. I know exactly what I want now. After she fell asleep, I sent a text to my personal assistant. I needed him to pick up a ring for me. I was not going to let her get away again. I would not be the reason this ended. I would be honest about how I felt and never hide myself from her again. The next morning could not come soon enough. I slid myself from around her, made coffee, and ordered room service to bring breakfast to us. I was going to do this right. I had it all set up: breakfast, coffee, conversation, a beautiful sunrise, and then I would lay it all out there. Everything came together beautifully. Finally, the time came for me to ask her a question I should have asked a long time ago. "Krystal," I said as I sat across from her at the table in our hotel room, "you know that I have loved you forever. I have made mistakes, but I do not want to let you get away again. I know that to be the man you need, I have to be a man first. Please let me show you the man I am." I produced the ring and began to slide it on her finger. "Krystal," I said as I slid from the chair and onto one knee, "will you marry me?" "Eddie," she began to say as tears filled her eyes. Then the phone rang. I answered it.
Krystal.
Eddie just proposed to me, but as I was speaking, his stupid phone rang. The look on his face was one of pure terror. I thought something was wrong. "Eddie," I asked him, "what is the matter?" The feelings on his face conveyed shock, horror, surprise, and happiness all at the same time. "Krystal," he said, "I just got asked to do a sitcom for a cable network. We are going to Los Angeles, my love." Instantly, his excitement grew. "But Eddie," I replied, "I cannot move that far from Gage. I cannot just up and leave my son like that. You know this. Jimmy would never let me leave the state with him on a permanent basis like that." I could see the fear in his eyes. What did this mean for us?
Chapter 5. Krystal.
I sat on the front porch of my home, watching the hummingbirds eating from the feeder I bought a couple of months ago. It is 6 in the morning, and such a beautiful morning. The sunlight streams through the branches of the trees, and a slight breeze comes out of the north, bringing in the autumn weather. I am sitting on the porch swing with my favorite blanket. Actually, it is an Afghan that my great-grandmother knitted when she was just 20 years old. I am the 4th generation to have owned this blanket. The deal is that we each add something to it. If you look at the original blue and black pattern, you will see that pattern is interrupted by patches like you would see on a quilt. The first patch came from my great-grandmother. She sewed on a piece of a onesie that belonged to my grandmother. My grandmother added one that belonged to my mom. My mom added one that belonged to me. My task is to add a patch of a onesie that belongs to my daughter, if I ever have a daughter, that is. However, I do think I might break tradition a little and add one of Gage's. I really do not see myself having any more children. My heart is too torn. It has been 3 months since I saw Eddie last. Well, it has been 3 months unless you count the numerous times I have watched his show. We still text from time to time, but I know I am trapped by obligations. I have been reliving the day he proposed to me over and over again in my mind, but I just could not bring myself to say no or yes. All I could give him was my typical non-committal gesture, along with telling him to do what made him happy. Obviously, he made his choice. Besides, his phone call was obviously more important than what was going on. I mean, who on earth answers a phone in the middle of proposing to someone you are supposed to love and want to marry? The person I want to spend my life with will have time for me. Not only that, but he will have time for my son. Yes, Gage has a father. Jimmy is an excellent father. He just was not that attentive of a husband, though I am sure he loved me. He was not harsh at all, but his expectations of me were something I could not live up to. You were not supposed to want to change the person you are with. He wanted to change me, and I wanted him to change. That is not how marriage works. Am I sour about it? Just a little bit, yes. I kind of hoped that he would choose me, but I also would not want him to ever have the chance to throw it in my face. I have seen over the years that when Eddie wanted to make you hurt, he certainly could make you hurt. He had a sharp tongue behind those lips. Thinking about his lips caused my mind to wander from my initial frustration and dwell in the comfort of being close to him, the way his hair fell into his eyes, and the way he snored if he slept on his side but not if he slept on his back. These are never things I noticed about Jimmy. Sure, Jimmy was kind. He was never spontaneous, though. That was something I loved about Eddie. As I grow older, I think to myself some old pieces of wisdom my grandma always told me. She always told me that love was not always something that required constant interaction. Sometimes, love was being able to sit together quietly in a room and just exist together. Sometimes, love was as simple as making sure his coffee was ready in the morning the way he liked it, like my Grams did for my grandpa. She always told me that it was not because he expected her to do it, but because she was the wife. She did it without prompting, because she knew he felt better and had a better day if he had his coffee ready. It is the little things you do, even chores, for the ones you love that can mean so much, she always told me. I never understood her wisdom until recently. I have plenty of time to reflect on things now. I still work at the diner, but business has slowed down. Instead of 5 double shifts per week, I work 2 double shifts and 3 single shifts. Even though I legally have custody of Gage, Jimmy has him a lot. My parents are not thrilled with the fact that I am still seeing Eddie, so they have backed off quite a bit. They are also still mad at me for leaving Jimmy. As I continue to ponder my feelings on Eddie, I notice that it seems I am not as adamant about being with him, no matter what, as I was before. I have custody of Gage, and it would not take me much to get the courts to force Jimmy's hand in letting me move if I really wanted it. So why did I use Gage as an excuse not to move? At the time, I could have sworn that I had Gage's best interest at heart, knowing that taking a little boy from his father was not a very good thing to do if one had no reason whatsoever. Now that I have time to think, since Gage is spending this week with Jimmy and his family, I do not feel that it is just Gage's best interest at heart. Is there something else to my line of thinking? Is something inside of me telling me that I do not love Eddie the way I think I do? Do I see myself like my Grams, fixing Eddie's coffee just the way he likes it, just to make his day a little more comfortable? I did that with Jimmy. I did a lot of things for Jimmy, but I thought I was doing them just because that was what was expected of me. Jimmy did not want me to work, really. He said it made him feel like less of a man. I did not agree. I am a strong, independent, and most capable woman. I do not want to be that woman 20 years down the line with zero marketable skills who is getting the bad end of the stick when she divorces her husband, only to realize that she actually did need him to financially support her. I do not want to be that woman. Ever. Still, I think of Jimmy fondly, but I think I love Eddie. I think of the times I have hurt Jimmy. I deserve everything that has happened to me and more. Jimmy was raised a certain way, but I like to think that he would eventually have listened if I had just talked to him. Would he not have? With Eddie, I think of all the fun we have had over the years, all the secrets I have told him. It was like having the best of both worlds, a friend who would go shopping with you, go on a spa day, lounge by the pool, and a guy friend who would stand up for you if anyone hurt you. As I reflect on things, I am struck with an epiphany. It was not Eddie that I was in love with. It was the qualities within him that I truly loved. I loved Eddie's fun-loving nature, his tenacity to find the beauty in life despite things being despicable, and his overall charm. But now what should I do? Should I continue on with Eddie? I hope one day I will be able to just take off into the wind with him. It looks like this week will not be an easy one after all.
Jimmy.
It is strange how time can change a person. I realize that I have been harsh with Krystal, but I will not make that same mistake with the next person I give my heart to. That is if I decide to give my heart to anyone else. I guess you could say, I am still sore about it. I am. I saw a future with Krystal, a future in which we would grow in our love, grow as people, and come to be the old couple holding hands while sitting on the park bench overlooking the lake. Looking back, I realize I was a fool. I did not shower her with enough affection. I simply thought she knew how I felt. After all, it is not every day that I go around proposing to people. Then again, in the generation we live in, people get married just to cure boredom. When they wake up the next morning, they realize they made a mistake and get divorced. That is not how any of this is supposed to work. When something is broken, you do not go around trying to replace it. You fix it. Despite my mechanic skills, I just did not know how to fix this. However, I am hoping eventually I can get to start over with her. Still, she made her choice, but I cannot help to think that perhaps she was hasty in her decision. I know Eddie offered her fine things, a fast-paced lifestyle, action, adventure, and the other things that sweep a young woman off of her feet. It is tempting to be that way, but my parents raised me to be steadfast and to make sure that I was the kind of husband my wife needed. I guess they forgot to tell me how to be the one she wanted, too. Some days being without her hurts so bad. Man, I feel it all the way to my core. You do not just stop loving someone, even when you are mad at them. You do not stop loving someone that easily. It is not a switch that can be turned on and off. It is something that is ingrained into the center of your bones, flows through your veins, and causes your heart to beat. It is the force that makes your soul sing anthems when it recognizes its twin. My soul no longer sings. My heart barely beats. My bones are hollow. If only I knew how to tell her everything I feel, but the words do not ever seem to come out right. The sad thing is that I know communication is the key in every relationship, not just romantic ones, but all relationships. I still hold out hope, though, that she will return to me. Meanwhile, I have to be the best dad I can be to this little guy. He and I are visiting with my mom today. My dad went into town, so I sat and let her visit with Gage. Krystal's parents usually see Gage when she has him. I look at my son, and oftentimes I see her face in his. He has her cute upturned nose, her ears, and her cheesy grin. He loves playing with my tools. I have to really mind what I put down around me, even if it is just for a second. He will go pick it up every time. I learned quickly when I put down my 3/4-inch socket. He picked it up, called it his shiny, and said it tasted good. Yep, you guessed it. It immediately went into his mouth. I think that is true for every toddler and small child, though. At least, that is what my mom tells me. She said Gage acts exactly like I did at that age. He is so curious and into everything. He likes to see how things work. His favorite word is why, and his favorite phrase is fix it. You just wait, my mom says. Before you know it, he will have your alarm clocks, VCRs, DVD players, and all your other electronics in pieces. You have got to be kidding me, I respond. I do not recall being that bad, though I did like to play with my dad's tools a lot. You bet he will. He is just like you. Do not even try to buy him one of those battery-operated Jeeps. He will have it in pieces too, and that will be $400 you have wasted. Well, not a complete waste. I learned how to break down an engine real well. I suppose you are right, she said, sipping her coffee. Am I not, usually? I grin. She picks up the paper, gently smacks me on the shoulder and says, You are just like your father, thinking he is always right. I loved moments like these with my parents. I am probably one of the only men my age who still enjoys his folks. I knew better when I was younger. I did not want to grow up. Because I knew I had to, I made sure I enjoyed every opportunity while living under their roof. I do have my own place a few houses down. Gage has his own room. I built his bed myself. It took me a while, but I built a bed that looks like a John Deere tractor. He absolutely loves it. Every night, he asks me to make tractor sounds after I read him a story. If I have anything to say about it, he is going to grow up to be a good man someday. However, Krystal told me about Eddie proposing. Well, not in so many words, but I overheard her talking to her mom one day when I dropped Gage off. She still has not gone anywhere, so I am assuming she either said no or has not given him an answer yet. I may love her and still hold out hope for us, but I will be darned if she takes my son from me. It is time I get Gage home to start his dinner, so I give my mom a hug, tell her to tell Dad I will see him tomorrow, and get Gage from his playroom at Mema's. Come on, buddy, I say. We have got to go fix you some supper and get you a bath. Fix it, he says as he points to pieces of what looks to be my old alarm clock. I shake my head with the knowledge that my mom was right, again. We will fix it next time, bud. How about we clean it up and come over tomorrow to fix it? Okay. He is such an agreeable little guy. I think the only time I have ever had him throw a fit around me was when he was not feeling well and did not want to stay still. So we left and headed home. I think I figured out a way to let Krystal know about my feelings once and for all. I know that if I ever had a chance with her for life, this would be it, before Eddie came blazing back in. I see now that all she needed was to feel like she was not trapped, to feel independent and more useful. Granted, I feel she was very useful. Our home and our son could not have done without the things she was doing, but she feels differently. It is not something I am adamant about, so we can compromise. I just wish it did not have to come to this, to make me see I needed to open up more. Tomorrow, I think I will go over to Krystal's house, leaving Gage with my parents, and talk to her. She is not supposed to get him back for a few more days, so we will have time to talk. More importantly, I will have time to listen and show her I want to do the things that I should have been doing all along.
Eddie.
I miss her so much, but I could not just abandon our future, my future, because she says her ex-husband would not let her leave. That sounded a bit too controlling to me, and is not that why she left him? Because he was too controlling? What was the point of divorcing him if she is still going to let him control her life? She is absolutely infuriating. Why does she have to be so stubborn? I remember that day. I was down on one knee, asked her to marry me, and that is when my phone rang. I watched the reaction I imagined happen before my eyes. Her eyes began to tear up. Her face glowed with a shine I had not seen in a long time from her. "Eddie," she said. And that is when my phone rang. I answered the phone, and it was my agent on the other end. "Eddie, oh my goodness, you have got to get down here right now," my agent screamed. I glanced at Krystal, sure she would understand, and sat on the bed. "Emily, what on earth are you talking about? Get where? Why? Do you not know I am kind of in the middle of something important, like life-altering important?" "Eddie, so am I just got you a sitcom deal, and one heck of one too. How would you like to be seen during prime time?" "Are you kidding me?" I looked over at Krystal. She did not seem mad or anything, so I went to the balcony to finish my conversation. "So, where am I supposed to be right now, as you put it?" "I need you to be here in Los Angeles at 9 in the morning tomorrow morning. Can you do that? I will have the Cessna meet you at the airport. I have already made arrangements. That is unless you are a fool and do not want this to happen. You have got to be crazy if you think I would miss this opportunity. How long do I need to be in town?" "About a week." I thought to myself that maybe Krystal would come with me for a week. I mean, surely no one would mind her being gone one extra week, right? I was obviously wrong. I wrapped up my conversation and walked back into the room. I was gone maybe 20 minutes, but she was not where I left her. So I checked the bathroom. There were only so many places she could be in a hotel room. I checked with the front desk. They said a young woman matching Krystal's description did leave the lobby, crying, but they could not be certain if it was her. At that moment, I knew I had lost her. She was gone, but I still held out hope that she would have me when things settled down. It has now been 3 months, and I am due to be in our little hometown next week. That is when I am going to surprise her and, hopefully, propose again. I have arranged everything. The florist from the next town is going to deliver 3,000 roses. I have talked to an old friend of ours who told me she still never locks her door. Our hometown was so small that you could still leave your doors unlocked. Anyhow, the florist is to go in while she is at work and set the roses up all over her living room. In the center will be a life-size stuffed plush bear with a heart on its tummy. A banner will be displayed that says, "Will you marry me?" While she is gasping and in complete awe, I will be standing in the doorway. When I think she has had enough, I will clear my throat and present her with the ring. She will cry, say yes, and life will be good. I cannot wait to get this going.
Krystal.
In 3 more days, I pick up Gage from Jimmy. I am off from work for the next 3 days, so I decided to take in a little shopping therapy. I normally do not shop for clothes and things, but today, I am taken up with a feeling of wanting to just get dressed up. Heck, I do not even have to actually purchase anything. I just want to play dress up, more or less. So I jump in my old beat-up yellow 1989 Honda Accord and drive toward the mall. I end up walking around for 3 hours. I could not believe that I had been in there for 3 hours. My mom would have been proud. I was probably one of the few teenagers growing up that refused to go to the mall. Picking my prom dress was absolutely a chore. I think I requested that I have my wisdom teeth extracted the day we were supposed to pick out a dress, though I was excited about going to the prom. I just did not see what the fuss was about in having to have this alleged perfect dress. Anyhow, I loaded my trunk with 6 bags of clothes, jewelry, and perfume for myself, and some clothes and toys for Gage, as if that boy needed more stuff. Between his father, myself, and both sets of grandparents, I think he was getting a little spoiled. I do not know why, but today felt like it was going to be special. It was just going to be different. I could feel the vibrations of the coming changes all around me. My skin tingled with anticipation, but from what I had no clue. Even the air felt different. I stood there, closing my trunk, and looked around. The world seemed to come alive for me for the first time in so long. I felt as if I were 17 again, and the world was mine for the taking. The greens of the trees and the grass seemed to shine like emeralds, while the blue of the sky reminded me of pictures of the North Sea I saw in books as a child. The air had an electrical magnetism that suspended all animation, to the point it felt as if I was the only one who really existed. It was absolutely exhilarating. I felt like I possessed a secret that the world would never know. Boy, was I wrong.
Jimmy.
It is a new morning, and today I am dropping Gage off with my parents. I have told them everything about what I plan to do, in asking Krystal to allow us to begin again. It is said that when you love someone, you let them go. If they do not come back, they were never yours to begin with. I cannot say that I agree with that. I know what I feel for the mother of my son, and it is so much more than the fact she is the mother of my son. It is the same feeling I had for her when I asked her to prom back in high school. No, I cannot say that it is. It is truly deeper than that. What I have for Krystal is what my parents and grandparents had in their marriages. It is that forever kind of love that never stops. Though the flames of passion may die down, the embers still burn strong, never fading into nothingness if you only stir up the hot coals once in a while. That was where I went wrong. I never stirred the hot coals, and allowed her to think my love had grown cold. I know that it is not considered manly of me to be so expressive, but darn it, I do not care if I have to come out looking like the biggest sissy on earth. I am going to do what it takes to win her heart. I will spend every day winning her heart all over again. Before I get to her house, I decide to stop by the local Hallmark card gift shop. I need to do this right. I go in. "Can I help you, sir?" said the clerk. "Yeah, I am looking for the perfect card, and a bouquet of gardenias with a single red rose in the middle. Oh, and the red rose needs to be fake, but the gardenias are real. Can you do that?" "That will be no problem at all, sir. If you step this way, I will have Clara help you in the flower department. You say you are looking for the perfect card. I gather this is for a young lady?" "Yes, ma'am. You see, I have been foolish, and I let my wife divorce me. She left because I was an idiot and did not tell her often enough what she meant to me. So I am taking this first step in fixing it." "Ah, that is so sweet. Well, I will tell you what. You wait here and take care of the flowers. I think I know just the card for you." Okay. I was a little taken aback at the cashier at first, but I thought it would be interesting to see what she picked out. Then again, how advantageous that the person helping me was female. At least I had some first-hand guidance in this stuff. I never understood why girls were so mushy, but whatever. When you love one, you would do anything, be anything for her to make her happy. I strolled over and did as told. I requested 11 gardenias and 1 plastic rose in the center be made into a bouquet. I waited for what seemed like forever, until finally the cashier returned with a very antique-looking card. "Before you say a word, just read it, please," the cashier said, smiling. I took it from her and stared at it for a while. The outside of the card was an off-white, cream-colored textured exterior, with white rose flower petals pressed into the paper. In calligraphy-style writing it simply read, "For my love." As I opened it, it was even more beautiful. On the left side, there was a tree made from red rose petals, with tiny pieces of petals used for the leaves being blown from the branches. On the right, there was a very impressive poem. They say that love is like a red, red rose. They claim to have been sprung in June. But nothing compares to the love I have. Not even a thought, not a poem, not a tune. They say that beauty fades, and you should see a person's heart. But my love, that could not be further from the truth. My soul from yours shall never part. They say that love is like a melody. The notes were so sweet and kind. But my love for you, my dear love, is like nothing no one can ever find. I knew instantly that Krystal was going to love this card. She was always into sappy stuff like this. I could kiss you, I exclaimed. Sir, I would not. The person you are obviously begging forgiveness from might not like it. I smiled. So instead of a kiss, I hugged the poor girl. She had no clue. I know I am a pretty large guy. I am over 6 feet tall and built like a linebacker, at least that is what my mom always tells me. And here I was squeezing the stuffing out of this tiny woman, who might have barely made 5 feet tall if you gave her a brick to stand on. I paid for my purchases and left. Krystal was going to be so excited.
Eddie.
I flew in from Los Angeles, hoping to arrive just as she should have been getting home from work. I paid for my rental car and drove around town. So much has changed here. Yes, it has only been 3 months. However, when you are used to seeing the sights of a much larger city, you notice when there have been changes in the small town that seem to have built you. It seems they are building a Walmart. I never would have seen that coming. It took 4 years for this small town to give the approval to build a Waffle House, a 24-hour breakfast-style diner. I would have never imagined a corporate conglomerate like Walmart would have been able to weasel its way into this little Mayberry-like town. Then again, Walmart had the money and, well, money talks. I have learned that lesson really well in the past few years. Before my success, no one knew me or who I was, or even treated me like I was a human being. Now that I am the co-star of a sitcom, have had huge success in stand-up, and have been turning profits that I never thought possible, people treat me better than just human. I am treated like royalty. Rather, I am treated like royalty by everyone except the one person I want in my life, Krystal. I cannot wait to see her, to hold her again. To smell her long dark hair, breathe in her presence, and know she is mine. That would make me the happiest man on the face of the planet. However, something does not feel right. I do not know what it is, but maybe it is just the food I ate on the plane. Plain food always makes me queasy. I drive by the old mechanic shop and see Jimmy's truck there. Well, I think it belongs to Jimmy, unless he sold it or something. I doubt he would ever sell it. That thing was more important to him than Krystal ever was.
Jimmy.
The anticipation is killing me. I know we have had our rough spots. I was hoping that by not fighting her on the divorce, she would realize that I am willing to give her everything her heart desires, no matter the cost, even if it meant my own happiness. That is what a good husband, in my opinion, does for his wife. Even if we no longer have that piece of paper joining us, I consider her my wife. She will always be my wife in my heart, even if I am not her husband to her. One of my favorite songs is by the Beatles. Let It Be is one of the most poignant songs, no matter the generation a person is from. The second stanza speaks the loudest right now. When the broken-hearted people, it begins. The day she told me she wanted a divorce was the day I felt my heart break into 1,000,000 pieces. I know this sounds harsh, but Gage was not a huge concern for the divorce. I knew she would never be one of those moms who used the child as nothing more than a paycheck for child support. She knew I would never be one of those dads who showed up when it suited me. We both had our heads on about that. Gage was going to have both parents in his life, whether we were in each other's or not. Still, nothing made it any easier to lose her. I have been patient, trying to show her that I love her. I have prayed. I have cried when no one was around. I have immersed myself in work and a life with my son. Finally, I pull up to her house. Her car is not there, but that is okay. I need some time to gather my thoughts on this. I am prepared to beg if necessary, and cry. If she wants to see me reduced to rubble to get my point across, that is fine with me. I know this is probably the last chance I will ever get to try to win her over for good. She has been through so much turmoil on her own. I went over my speech in my head repeatedly. After sitting there on her porch swing for about half an hour, I heard a vehicle coming down the drive. It was time. So I stood up and waited on the top step. I wanted to be the first thing she saw. When I looked down the path, I did not recognize the vehicle at all. It must be someone who is lost, I thought to myself. Little did I know just how right I was.
Eddie.
Finally, I cannot hold it in any longer. I turn onto her driveway and head towards the home of the woman I love. I am going to beg, borrow, and steal her heart. I will bribe her if I have to. However, I spot a vehicle in the yard. No, I said aloud to myself. It cannot be. I just passed him minutes ago. Yet there he was. That was Jimmy's truck. Then again, I realized that considering the type of people who lived in this town, a lot of people might have had a truck that looked like Jimmy's. And there he was, standing on the front porch with a bouquet in his hands. No matter. After all, they say it is on the inside that counts, right? Well, what I have on the inside of her home will certainly outshine any pathetic attempt he may use to steal her from me. She belongs to me, not him. When will he learn that he cannot give her the things that I can? When will he learn that he is not good enough? When will he learn, period? I eased off of the gas pedal. He obviously did not recognize me. He could not have, since the windows to the rental car are tinted. I pulled up next to his truck and shut off the engine. I got out. His eyes widened with what I perceived as fear at the sight of me. Jimmy, I said coldly. I was not going to give him the satisfaction.
Jimmy.
Unbelievable, I thought to myself. That cannot be who I think it is. Suddenly, I was overtaken with an intense desire to confront him. My hands clenched into fists at my sides. Normally, I am a pacifist, but the things this idiot has put Krystal through, and he still thinks he can just walk in here anytime he wants, leaves absolutely no excuse for his presence here. However, I could not do anything rash, as that would cause me to be incarcerated. I would be no use to my wife or son in prison. "What are you doing here, Eddie?" I asked, trying to hold back my anger and hold my tongue. "Just coming to see Krystal," he replied. "Well, she is not here, so you can skedaddle back to your little New York apartment or whatever miserable place you came from. We are all doing just fine in this town without you. Your presence is no longer required or wanted. We can let Krystal be the judge of that. And just so you know, I am living in Los Angeles right now. I could not care less where you live. It is not here. Whatever happened between the two of you a few months back has changed her, and not for the better. Actually, in the past month, she has smiled a lot more, but it certainly was not because of anything you did. Besides, she is not here, dummy. Are you blind and dumb? I mean, I always knew you were a little slow, but I did not figure you for complete idiot. And what makes you think your presence is needed? You are about as useful as a football bat there, man. You know, just because you are special does not mean you are useful. Whatever you did, you hurt her. And what did I tell you would happen if you ever hurt her?" He took a few more steps, closing the gap between us. The desire to just set him straight intensified with the lack of space between us. "Eddie? Jimmy? What are you doing here?" came a voice we both recognized. It was Krystal. Neither one of us saw or heard her pull up.
Krystal.
I pulled up to my house after shopping and see two vehicles in my yard. One I am familiar with. It is Jimmy's truck. The other, I have absolutely no clue who it is until I stop my car and get out. Eddie. Jimmy. What are you doing here? Both of their faces went white. They both tried to talk at the same time. Hush, one at a time, guys. Eddie. What are you doing here? I crossed my arms over my chest. I could deal with seeing Jimmy right now, but not Eddie. I wanted nothing to do with the man who tore my heart to shreds. I can see that Jimmy wants to confront him, and I am almost tempted to let him do so, if not encouraging him to give Eddie a piece of his mind. Eddie closed the gap between us, took my hand and placed a brief formal greeting upon it. My dearest Krystal, he began. I have been so lonely without you. I know I screwed up. Can you ever forgive me? Before you answer, I would like to go inside and talk to you. I snatched my hand back from Eddie and wiped the sweat from his clammy hands off of mine. Gross, I thought. I grabbed my keys and unlocked the door. Well, I said. Obviously, if you are both here, we all need to have a chat. So, what do you say? Let me put this stuff up and wait on the couch. Oh, the first one to cause trouble pays for the damages. When I opened my door, I did not think either Jimmy or I was ready for what we saw. This had Eddie's name written all over it. I looked around at the balloons, the streamers, the giant bear, and the banner that read, "Will you marry me, Krystal?" I turned around and saw Eddie on one knee, holding open an emerald green velvet box with a huge diamond ring in the center. That is when Jimmy said, "Krystal, I think I know who has you. Please accept these as a token of my congratulations." He hands the bouquet of flowers and the card to me. Then he turns to leave. Good riddance to bad rubbish, Eddie says with a Cheshire cat grin on his face. Now where were we, my love? Oh yes, you were about to say yes to my proposal. No phone calls. No interruptions. Just me, you, this ring, and your acceptance of my proposal is all that is required. I look at the flowers. They are beautiful white gardenias, my favorite flower. In the center, however, is a plastic red rose. Jimmy did the same thing with a bouquet of roses for our senior prom. He told me he would love me until the last rose died. I still have that rose in my hope chest upstairs. I looked at the flowers, and then again at Eddie. Eddie, Yes. Eddie.
Jimmy.
It is official. I have lost her forever. Well, at least she will be happy and not want for anything. I know they say money cannot buy happiness, but it can sure buy a lot of things that you can use to create memories, and memories make you happy, right? At least my memories make me happy. I have so many memories of Krystal and myself. I suppose that is all I will have, aside from Gage. I guess I will be okay with that. She is happy, and that is all that matters to me. She is a good mom, and that is all that matters for my son. So it is my job to be the best dad I can be, and just love her. I hope she knows that no matter what, I will always be there. If she needs someone to hold her when Eddie makes her cry, I will be there. If she needs someone to confide in, I will be there if she wants me there. I do not care about anything other than making her happy and being the best dad I can be. If she is happy with Eddie, then I will allow myself to be happy for her.
Krystal.
I stare at the ring for a few moments, and finally will myself to say the words I have needed to say for a long time. Eddie, I say. I will not marry you. I cannot. I am sorry, but I cannot. This, I point to all of the stuff now cluttering my just-cleaned living room. This is all lovely, and I am sure you spent a lot on this, but this is not the kind of life I want. I used to think it was, but then I had Gage. Living a simple life, going to work, coming home, being with my son, is a beautiful thing. Nothing is wrong with the life I have here. You and I had some great times. I will always treasure the memories we have made, but that time in our life is over. Your life has taken you in a direction you have always dreamed of. But Krystal, I have always dreamed of this life with you by my side. I have envisioned us stepping out of the limo, onto the red carpet as I am about to accept an Academy Award. Me in my Armani tuxedo, and you in your Dolce & Gabbana sequin dress, looking perfect as the light shimmers on your sequins. And of course, little Gage would follow with his nanny in his miniature tuxedo, and be the cutest baby on the red carpet. Suddenly, I was filled with anger I had never experienced before. I wanted to deck him, push him out the door, or something forceful. I knew that more than anything, though, I wanted him out of my house. "Eddie, you need to leave." I pointed toward the door. "What?" he said as he stood up. Did I stutter, or has being under all of those bright lights fried your brain? "I want you out of my house, and I want you out now," I said, raising my voice. "If you do not leave, I will make you leave." He stood up and began to grin. "Yeah, and how would you do that?" "Ha! Eddie, do not make me hurt you." He scoffed. "You could not hurt a fly." "What are you talking about? Do not make me hurt you." "Here, let me show you how much you want to say yes. I know you are just scared, and do not worry about Jimmy. I will take care of him." He moved toward me and grabbed my arm, pulling me closer. Then he tried to lean in toward me. So I did what any Southern girl would do in my situation. I decked him. "I told you no. I told you to leave. If you do not get yourself out of my house, I will throw you out. Now go," I shouted. He scrambled to his feet and headed toward his car, but not without trying to have the last word. "Krystal, you do not know what you have done. You have given up the best thing in your life. You have given it all up, and for what? To be an old, unmarried maid with a kid, because you do not know a good thing when you had it. Well, there are plenty of women fawning all over me, begging me to even take them to Starbucks, let alone for them to be my wife. So say goodbye to your chance, babe." He jumped in his car and sped off. I hoped he was looking in the rear view as he left, because I waved him a sarcastic farewell. His words still stung, but I tried not to let them get to me. He was right, though. I probably would be alone, forever. I would not have been if I had not divorced Jimmy. He was a fool, but he was my fool. Images of our marriage, especially in the beginning, danced in my head. He was such a wonderful husband. He never treated me badly, despite cheating on him twice with Eddie. He could have called me every name in the book, but all he did was love me through it. And I threw him away with both hands. I am such an idiot sometimes. At least now, I would have this beautiful rose to add to the other precious memories. Oh wait, I thought. Was there not a card? I looked around for the card. I searched until I remembered that I sat it down on the couch. I picked it up and read it. Each word seemed to jump off of the page and dance just for me. I never cried so hard in my life as I did after reading that poem, and what he penned on an extra sheet of paper for me to add to the card. Written on that sheet of paper was, "Krystal, I was a fool to let you go. I promise to never do it again. If you forgive me, your ring is where love never dies." The rose. Oh my goodness. I am such an idiot. Jimmy came here to propose to me all over again, and again I was distracted by Eddie. Well, I could only hope it was not too late. I picked up the bouquet, pulled out the rose, and placed the gardenias in a vase. And just like he said in his note, the wedding ring that he had given me was on a plastic rose tied with a sapphire blue ribbon, one of my favorite colors. I slipped it on. Perfect fit. I wondered where Jimmy was now. He left out of there pretty quietly. If I know him as well as I think I do, he is either at his folks' house or the shop. So I grab my phone and call his mom. "Hey, is Jimmy there?" "Why no, honey. Is he supposed to be?" "I thought Gage was not supposed to come home for a few more days," his mom said. "No, you are right. I picked Gage up Sunday evening, but Jimmy left here about 30 or so minutes ago, and I forgot to tell him something. I have not seen him. You should try the shop. You know him, always working." "Yes, ma'am. I will. Thank you." "Oh, Krystal?" "Ma'am? Before you go, I wanted to tell you something." I hope you will not think I am being too nosy, but you know that Jimmy still loves you, right? If you could ever find it in your heart to feel the same way about him. I already do. The words came out of my mouth before I even had a chance to stop them. I was not ready to tell his folks just yet, but oh well. What is done is done. I knew it. Well, I will let you find him, honey. Love you. Love you too, Mom. I had always called Jimmy's parents Mom and Dad forever. It felt weird doing so after the divorce, so I just stopped. Now it felt right again. I hung up the phone and texted Jimmy an urgent message. He would definitely answer after that.
Jimmy.
My phone suddenly began to vibrate. I pulled over to the side of the road to see what was going on. It was a text message from Krystal that read 911. Oh no, I said to myself. Eddie probably pulled something. That rat. I called her phone while I was still pulled over. Hello, I said. Jimmy? Krystal's voice sounded like pure heaven to me. It always has. Are you hurt? Is everything okay? There was a brief pause, but it might as well have lasted for hours. Finally, she spoke up. No, Jimmy. Not everything is all right. You see, a while back, I lost something very dear to me. Actually, I was an idiot and threw it away while chasing pipe dreams. So I found this ring and decided to put it on my finger, hoping it would help me find what I lost. I smiled. What did you lose, Krystal? I had to ask. I needed to ask. I needed to hear it from her mouth, what she was getting at. Just as everything was coming to a head for me, the anticipation, the aching need, and the proximity of my heart to the walls of my chest, I was about to explode. So what did you lose? I ask again. You.
The end.